NORC joins NASCAR in annual trips to Daytona Beach each winter, and this year it's only gotten bigger. From one race to two, from two races to five in this year's NORCTONA Speedweeks. We join you now from the virtual Daytona International Speedway for NORC Truck Night in America. Hello and welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual World Center of Racing. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Emerson Arden and Caleb Gladney alongside. Emerson, let's get right back into it. The NORC Classic and NORC ARCA 200 are in the rearview mirror, which means we can focus now on what marks the halfway of 2022 NORCTONA Speedweeks, the NORCTONA Truck 250.
Absolutely, Andrew. It's glad to be back on a call for yet another NORCTONA event in this month of January, and it'll carry over into February. Glad to be back here again for World Center Race, the high banks of Daytona. Again, the close-quartered, high-intensity racing. It's going to be better than ever tonight for 100 laps around this 2.5 mile beast.
Very much looking forward to it. Very much glad to have Caleb back alongside as well. And Caleb, we know Daytona. It is the classic Daytona International Speedway. There's nothing fancy about it. It's Daytona. 18 degrees of banking in the trial. We talked a bit about this last week and how it really, honestly, throws a lot of guys for a loop because you're carrying the same speed into that tri-oval as you do into all four other corners, but you don't have nearly the same amount of banking, and obviously it's not the same radius of turn, but it is still, again, the same speeds into less banking. It gets tricky.
Yeah, the tri-oval at Daytona, I think it's built exactly for that. It's to throw these drivers a curveball. That's what makes this the World Center of Racing, and you know, we know Daytona. It's the same as it was last week, but tonight it's beautiful. The moon's out. It's a nighttime race, and I tell you, she's dressed up and ready to go for tonight's race.
Yeah, I do love these overheads, these wide panning shots of the Daytona International Speedway. Of course, we had some great ones in the B-roll as well. So I love being here at the Daytona International Speedway in the sim. It led all broadcasts for us last year. In fact, I can pull the number up if I wanted to. It is so popular, yet it's still just always so much fun to come right back here to Daytona and have a good time. And in fact, I'm going back through the numbers, Emerson, and to the top tracks on our broadcast last year, well, it was Daytona and Charlotte tied, each at 10, and it's fitting. This place is the World Center of Racing. It means so much to so many people, real and virtual. Everybody wants to win here, and that always brings a lot of great moves, a lot of great racing out, especially when NORC is in town.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see some of the best sim racers on the sim go at it tonight. 100 laps at Daytona. There's some money on the line as well, as there has been past couple of events. There will be in the upcoming events as well. So a lot to race for as well. Also just the pride of getting a win in the final month of NORC racing. And we're going to see these boys. They're really going to put it out on the line. We're going to see a lot of action, especially in the second half of this race. Maybe closer to the stage ends as well.
Yeah, we do have stages. Glad you mentioned that, Caleb. We've got stages in this race. This is not something we've seen in a while in NORC. In fact, we've not had stages on the channel in a long time at all. And we have three stages, two shorter stages of 25 laps apiece. So we've got a stage break at lap 25, a stage break at lap 50, and then we run to the end of this 100-lap race. That's going to change up the strategy as well. That means there's only one chance to have green flag pit stops, and that is in that final stage, and it's going to be so close where if you get one caution, suddenly you are good to the end if you pit, and you might be good to the end even if you stay out if you're able to save enough fuel.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of variables when you throw stage racing, especially in at these super speedway tracks. Fuel mileage, like you said, becomes a big part of the race, and these drivers are just going to have to roll the dice once we get through this second stage and decide what the best call is going to be, and that very well could end them in victory lane.
Yeah, so a lot to watch for this evening at the Daytona International Speedway, again, for the NORCTONA Truck 250. Let's get down to practice then, because these guys do only have 5 minutes left, and Sean Williams currently leads the way, but I don't think he got to that top spot, Emerson, by being upside down as he currently is. That is a rather interesting predicament to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't think this will be the last we'll see of upside-down vehicles tonight, because it's about to get wild tonight. I've been watching a lot of practice tonight, and as usual with most NORC plate track practices, there's been a lot of pit parties going around, so a lot of drivers grouping up, getting out there and getting some real pack practice, racing with one another in that close-quartered environment, and then it's practice. You know, if you wreck it, you can just reset. As there's hey, he's back on his wheels. How about it?
Yeah, the rest of the field comes on through, and yeah, that's one way to have some contact, have some practice here. Aaron Smith, second in practice. We've got some new number boards out there as well. Aaron Smith, and you know we know these guys are just going to have fun in practice. That's what we're seeing here. But there are some things to take away from this practice. Caleb, I know we haven't seen a whole lot on track, but what are you watching for with these trucks specifically?
Well, not necessarily that, but I will say when these trucks do get out there, I like to see when they get in a pack to see how they handle. The night race is not something we've done so far in these NORCTONA Speed Weeks, so, and we've also, like we said, they're in trucks for the first time this Speed Week, so it's interesting. You know, they're going to handle different than what we've had previously, and I think that's what's such a beauty of the Speed Weeks we've had so far is 5 different styles of races, and so it's put up or shut up time. But during this practice, like I said, I want to see them running a pack and just see how these trucks handle.
And Emerson, similarly, you've got a lot of sim experience, though. What have you seen so far in this practice? I know you've been watching a little bit longer than we have. What are you looking for? What stands out to you?
Well, what stands out to me is this is very much going to be a comparison to last week. Is you can actually lean on these drivers, lean on your fellow competitors. You can sideswipe them a little bit more, or not sideswipe, but you can lean on their side a little bit more. You can get right up on those tailgates more than you could the rear bumpers last week in the ARCA vehicles, and it's just because they're more rectangular shape. They're more flat ends on the front and on the back ends of these trucks, so they like to. They can push really well. The pack is going to generate a lot of energy tonight, and again, but just as with the ARCA car, just like as any plate race, really, get a little, just one little mistake, and then we could have anywhere from 5 to 20, 25 people in a wreck.
So practice getting underway here. We're going to step aside for, well, I guess practice wrapping up here at Daytona. We'll step aside for just one moment and be right back to you with continuing coverage of the NORCTONA Truck 250. That's 100 laps, 250 miles around the Daytona International Speedway. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway qualifying. That's what's up for these guys, the NORC iRacing Series. Of course, we had Season 13, full coverage of Season 13 not so long ago. If you missed it, well, there's a lot of ways you can go back and watch it. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and the whole lot of them. However, in this NORC month of January, if you will, NORCTONA Speedweeks, we have moved on to just a month of Daytona. 5 straight weeks of Daytona racing, and this is kind of replacing a Season 14. Season 14, at least for now, is not going to happen. Some rule it out. I will not rule it out, and for those of you watching, I would not rule out a 14th season of NORC just yet. I don't want to give you too much hope, because I don't know, but I think down the line it's still possible. Here's a look at Michael Keithley working around turn number 4, and he will come around and begin his first lap of qualifying here. This is going to be fun. These Camping World trucks, we don't get a whole lot of them here on Pit Stop TV, Emerson, but I'm looking forward to them tonight.
Yeah, it's good to have trucks back on the channel. With Michael Keithley, we're going to see him do is what we normally see at these plate tracks, these solo qualifying trials. You're going to see him on that first lap kind of give up that first lap, throw in the towel that first lap, and just work on getting up that, getting that top speed all the way up. They're going to use that hill off the exit of turn 2 down the back straight and make it as long as possible into turn 3. You'll see him stay up there and use that hill out of 4 again, and then he'll dive to the bottom once he hits the tribal, and we'll see these drivers really turn up the heat when they get to their second flying lap tonight.
A couple of more looks around the field. Here's a look at Howie Briss as he gets his first lap. Well, yeah, he's finishing up his first lap here in just a moment. 50 seconds, 51 seconds. Who goes fastest first is going to be, it looks like, Howie Briss. Yes, up to the top of the board. Michael Keithley's lap sticks for second. Ashley Molyneux goes up to third, and now she'll begin her first proper lap. I am a little bit concerned about the way Howie Briss came across the line, though. Usually, Caleb, when you drop down to the bottom, before you take the checkers, it just, I don't know, it seems to be that little it factor that maybe you don't have. We'll see how it works out for him. A look at Jimmy Gregory as well in his Ford F-150 as he works out of turn number 2.
Yeah, I mean, with this qualifying session we're getting right now, you know, not a lot of cars are going to take time, but the ones we do get to see take time, you see on board right here, as Emerson was saying, is we get to see the strategy, and a lot of them go with what Emerson said. You start at the top of your first lap, drop down to the bottom, the quickest way around the racetrack. But I like that note you made of the trial. We'll have to see if any other drivers do the same thing.
So on board here with Terrell Baker, working at a turn number 3. Ashley Molyneux goes a bit quick. She's up to second now as Howie Briss did take pole. I'll take back what I said about Howie Briss, Emerson. It seems like he figured something out. Sean Williams comes across the line as well, gets his first lap in. He is now actually working out a turn number 4 to go ahead and finish off his second lap of qualifying. Terrell Baker will go 10th on his first lap. Sean across the line for his second. TCB actually goes to the top of the board with his second lap.
And he does it by 2 1/1000ths of a second over Howie Briss. That is a marginal at best, a margin. That's crazy. We're watching now Benjamin Miles out on the racetrack getting his timed lap in. And we're seeing now the strategy's kind of mixed. We saw Howie Briss, he ran the bottom side, at least out of 3 and 4, on his first lap. And then on the second lap, he just stayed down on the bottom side, while TCB ran the high side, and then he ran the bottom side. So we're seeing that it's almost a negligible difference, and maybe it's more of a kind of a mental thing. These drivers going up to the high side on their first lap. But if Howie Briss really did that first lap on the bottom side, Seth Noel went top of the charts. It's intriguing to look out for more solo qualifying at Daytona.
Bobby Zielinski getting out there. Oh, that's a beautiful paint. He ends up escaping back to the pit lane, but Cody Miller comes across the line. Of course, he won last week in the ARCA 200 here. That's 1 lap in. Where does he go this second lap? Looking pretty good so far, right down to the bottom of the racetrack, but actually, you know, he popped up a good bit there and won, and he's kind of all over the place right now. And Caleb, you have to hold such a pretty wheel in qualifying. It's every little degree of steering, every little micro movement makes such a big difference.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, one thing about these super speedways in terms of qualifying is you do have to be perfect. I mean, we saw how close it was for the pole position spot, and this lap by Cody Miller, you see him arch up there in the turn. You got to stick it right there on that yellow line, shortest way around, and be perfect. So, yeah, I agree with you. When you're qualifying here, you definitely have to be perfect.
the field gets through their qualifying, and we will be able to take a look at starting grid here in just a moment. But I got to ask you one question, Emerson. But we kind of do this on occasion, and I'll ask you the same thing, Caleb. But Emerson, go first. Before we even get to the grid and see where everybody's starting, who's your pick for this race? We've taken bets before. Who's your pick today?
You know, I'm gonna go based on what I saw. Really, in the NORC Classic. Not that you can really compare the 87s to trucks, or even the ARCA cars last week to trucks. But the aggressiveness out of some of these NASCAR drivers coming back to race with their fellow NORC competitors, NORC friends, if you will. I gotta go with Bobby Zalinski, who didn't even set a qualifying time there to maybe get it done tonight. He has such control of his vehicle. He just takes command of the race.
Yeah, I mean, picking up where Emerson said, a driver last week that I thought was going to pull away with the win, got in a little bit of trouble late, but I'm going to pick her here tonight. Ashley Molyneux. She was very aggressive last week. I expect her to be aggressive again here tonight. So look out for Ashley Molyneux. That's my pick to win it here.
Both great picks, and Ashley, with the iRacing Super Speedway win last season of NORC, I think certainly earns a spot in our picks here for this one. I'm not sure who I'm going to take. I'll let you know by the end of the first lap, though, as we get... Well, actually, probably... You know what? I'll let you know by the end of the pace lap. Here's a look at our starting grid, however, and on pole, I did not expect this, if I'm being completely honest. It's Seth Noel on the number 27. He will lead this field to the green. Terrell Baker rolls off second place. How's that? TCB Nation starting second in the Truck 250. Starting third today in the Truck 250 is Howie Briss in the number 97. Sean Williams rolls off from that fourth spot. So those front two on the outside lane might have something rolling here early on. Starting fifth, you know what? This will be my pick, Femi Ola. We don't know his plans just yet for this year of eNASCAR, iRacing, Coca-Cola Series racing. Maybe he gets a win, and who knows? Maybe he tells us. Actually, TCB rolls right back to Sean Williams there. Femi Ola. We'll see if he can win today from the fifth position. Tony Hilbrands will roll off sixth place. Also a pretty good pick there in the number 92. Ashley Molyneux, she rolls off seventh. Benjamin Miles will start from the eighth position. And to round out our top 10, Emerson starting ninth and 10th. Jimmy Gregory and Michael Keithley.
We'll find our way back to row number 6. It'll be the ARCA Daytona winner, the 28 of Cody Miller. To his outside will be the 8 of Josh Robin. Row number 7, we're going to find the 83 of Bobby Zalinski, the 20 of Daniel Faulkingham, last season's NORC champion. And on our way back to row number 8, we're going to find the 48 of Will Klein. He took the NORC Classic, and the 70 of Aaron Smith in his bright yellow machine. Back to row number 9, it'll be the 44 of Anthony Emery, the 26 of Bobby Chaney, and rounding out the top 20, it'll be the drivers of the number 5 of David Shutt, the number 12 of Spencer Owens.
Rounding out the rest of the field, rolling off in 21st, Tommy Mercier in the 68, in 22nd, the 24 of Brent Bukhari. Rolling off in 23rd is going to be Sheldon Lockey in the 69, and in the 74, that's going to be a driver who put on a show last week, 74 car of John Barry. Rolling off in 25th is going to be the car of Jared Darling in the 1. And 26 is Elijah Garcia in the 42. 27th and 28th is Cody Lamas in the 84. And the 9 car of Patrick Colby in 28. 29th is Nathan Dunas in the 22. And the 03 car of Dylan Patterson.
30 trucks starting tonight's race. We're about to get it all rolling. But of course, before we get any NORC race underway, we got to turn things over to TCB. Buddy, take it away.
All right, boys, here we are here at Daytona. Get on Daytona.
Watching everyone get up to speed, up through the gears and down the Daytona Super Stretch for the first time. Up front, the lead going to change hands over to Howie Briss to turn number 3 for the first time. How about Femi Olot, the push up front to the number 97.
Femi Olot has locked up to that rear tailgate of the 97 of Howie Briss. They're going to the front. Ashley Molyneux now takes it to the lead car in the middle lane. Now Femi Olot jumps out of the line trying to take the lead. It's Howie Briss at the line, but it'll be Olot down into turn 1.
These drivers not wasting any time to turn up the intensity. We see a driver going to the outside for the lead. That's Ashley Molyneux off of turn number 2 with a push from last week's winner, the number 25. Sorry, that's Baker in the 25. He'll give the push down the backstretch.
Everyone working down the Daytona Superstretch now for the second time. Bobbing, weaving, finding runs, finding momentum. Josh Robin jumps up high, makes it 3 wide in the 4th row. That's to the outside of Michael Keithley. Jimmy Gregory a little all over the place down to the bottom side. It is good to see more drivers getting involved in NORC. Jimmy Gregory, one of those. As they come around to complete lap number 2, let's go on board with the driver of the number 60.
Right on board with Jimmy Gregory. You see he is now in a 3-wide situation here. He's got Michael Keithley to his outside. He's going to keep that wheel nice and tight there on the bottom side. You can see the double wide pack up ahead of him. Looks like a car washing with their way towards the back. Looks like that's the 92 of Hillbrand's working his way back there. Up front, they're still neck and neck. The 2 lines, neither one of them can get ahead of the other.
The second lane with Ashley Molyneux pulling the train as holding on strong. Can't put the nose out in front of Femi Olot just yet, but those 2 drivers pull their respective lines through turns 3 and 4 and back to the tri-oval.
We'll look at things further back in the pack. Elijah Gracia getting this race going. Lap 3 is going to complete, and he's going to come across the line in the 20th spot. So just inside the top 2/3 of the field here. 1 truck did not make the start. That leaves us with 29 then. Everybody's moving around. Everybody, I mean everybody moving around. Looks like Ashley Molyneux, though, going to exit turn number 2 on lap number 4 with the race lead. She's in a controlling fashion already, and she's already told everybody in this race she's going for broke. She wants to go get a race win before NORC at least goes into hiatus after February 1st with the NORCTONA 500. She wants to grab another one just like at the iRacing Super Speedway. Doing pretty good so far, leading the show on lap number 4, but there's still 96 to go.
Not only is it, I guess, customary, you see, once you get clear of the bottom side at Daytona that you want to drop down, but more or less, she has elected, in more ways than one, to get Femi Olot behind her. We already saw the kind of push that Femi Olot can give. We saw on the opening lap to Howie Briss, and now having somebody like the 18 right behind her, that should help her keep herself out in front. And actually, Ola actually never got a lap led. It's been Ashley Molyneux lap 2 on leading here, and that outside lane cannot get moving now that Michael Keithley is the truck responsible for getting that outside lane to go forward.
Well, Michael Keithley does give that shove to the 25 car of Baker as we ride on board with 3rd in the inside lane. That's Howie Briss, who is riding just behind Femi Olot. A nice shot of how these cars pull up to the bumper and how that 25 car pulls down to side draft to try and get this run through the tri-oval.
TCB working just a little bit of that side draft off of Femi Olot. And really what the side draft is, and this has been explained a million times, but, you know, really just putting air on the, I guess, truck, in this case, truck spoiler next to you. You're not necessarily speeding up. You're just slowing that other truck down or slowing that other line down. And right there, completely different situation. Femi Olot got a run up out of turn 2. Finally saw that he was clear up top because the top line had fallen back. TCB had fallen back with the help of Michael Keithley. And Femi Olot had just enough room to get up there, gets up there, and brings TCB up with. And once they got that run, you saw, Emerson, how they got away from that bottom line, opened up a little bit of room. That's why these onboards are so important. That's why it shows so much of what's going on. As you can see, Femi might have been getting hot, too. Might have been gotten a little bit hot with the temperatures. Popped up there, got some clean air, and is now leading this bottom line as, hey, Matthew Kowal. Definitely, we're seeing a little bit of that tandem at work. These trucks don't tandem like they used to, but you can get a little bit of that tandem for at least a moment, at least a straightaway or two, and get momentum rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way these trucks punch through the air, tandeming is almost
boy.
Nearly an accident there. Josh Robin, he makes his presence known. He shoves it up the inside of the 53 truck. He put himself a second truck on the inside lane. Now Olot jumps up high. Molyneux with the run on the bottom side. Can she get Howie Briss to push her up alongside the 18 truck into the tri-oval we go once again? It'll only be the second lap tonight that Femi Olot has led, but he'll be leading at the stripe.
Well, right now, Femi Olot in that 18, sticking with the top lane, the lane that got him to the lead when he made the move to get past Ashley Molyneux. He's got the 25 car of TCB Baker right on his back bumper, pushing him. But Ashley Molyneux with quite the run off of turn number 2.
Veteran Miles going to drop out of the pack, and he's going to sink like a rock, and that is obviously by design. He feels that maybe it's getting a little bit too hectic out there. He's going to drop back from 10th to about 15th position now, as riding on board with him here. It looks like he gets that move about sorted out, gets right back on the racetrack without issue. It really does seem these guys are playing pretty nice so far, which is completely opposite from what we saw last week. They were straight to it, getting out there and roughing each other up, and we saw a couple of little moments beating and banging around. I think the only truck so far tonight, Emerson, that has been any kind of aggressive has been that of Josh Robin. We went 3 wide a few laps ago. The rest of these guys, they're making moves, but they're doing so nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm starting to see all throughout the pack now, you'll notice it right there on the rear end of TCB's truck, as those rear ends are starting to get a little used up already in the early going. TCB will drop down to the bottom side. Josh Robin is now the lead truck on that outside lane. Looks like he's got, I believe that's 92 Hillbrands behind him, trying to get that line going. But you're starting to see throughout the field those rear ends starting to become a little bit more damaged, leaned on a little bit more, and you can see the intensity already picking up here, only 9 laps in.
A nice shot right there as we ride on board, as car takes a peek to the outside and then a bump to the 8 car of Josh Robin. And Andrew, now I got to ask, we've talked about the intensity in these NORC races, these the previous 2 we've had, but in this race, it seems if maybe you can get out front, you can control this race. But do you think you find yourself better out front, constantly battling for the lead, or just hanging out at the back for a while?
Well, you can control this race, I think, better than any other race we're going to have the rest of this month of January. Here's looking at damage Emerson was talking about on the back end of TCB's truck. You definitely can control this race a bit better. These trucks, they're, how do I put this? I think more so of a 2018, 2017 NASCAR Cup package, at least on the iRacing platform, the way those used to track, if you recall. You could properly kind of play Pied Piper like Dale Earnhardt Jr. used to do. You could control lines. You could actually effectively work this 2-3 lane draft, and it wasn't so, I think, rotational, where we've seen that more often than not, and I think we're going to see that next week with the Xfinity cars here, Emerson. You can get out here and control these lines. These trucks, for some reason, I guess because they're a little bit slower, a little bit boxier, you can actually do this Pied Piperism almost.
Yeah, absolutely. These things, I mean, they are, professional race vehicles, and, they are...
Tony Hillbrands!
Contact!
That's a
we got
crash.
Trucks around, up into the fence, up and over is Michael Keithley. Several trucks involved.
Lap 11 of 100, and we have our first spill of the day. Now, this is just about halfway into stage number 1. You see the rest of the field scattering, getting on through. And for the most part, most of the field does get on through without too much injury. Take a look back at what causes all of this. So watch the black and green 92 of Tony Hillbrands. That's kind of where this all starts. Overhead will probably do it a whole lot more justice. Watch that black and green 92 truck. Rolls up on Josh Robin, checks up. Michael Keithley gives him a tap, and that just sends him squirrely. Howie Briss tries to correct it. Too far gone. That's a look at the rest of Tony's crashes. Get collected by anybody else? Thankfully, it looks like the answer to that question is no. He doesn't get hit by anybody else, but certainly took a pounding to that outside wall, much like Michael Keithley and Howie Briss.
It's unfortunate, but that's just kind of how things go here at Daytona, because of how close quartered these vehicles are. You see the kind of run. He's not even really having a run, but there's such a difference in speed when I believe Robin checked up for a whole lot. Right here, you'll see the difference. Keithley kept his foot in it, and then he didn't know the 92 was checking up until the last second. And now we have, 6 trucks? It looks like 5 trucks damaged, and more kind of going around as a result. But it's just, you can't see through the spoilers. You can't see that well through the rear window and then the front windshields of these trucks. There's not really a whole lot that Keithley could do there. He had no idea there was going to be a stack up in this lane, and unfortunately that's what the accident came from.
Well, it's almost as if it's an accordion effect, like you see at these short tracks like Martinsville and Bristol and some of these bull rings around the country. You know, the accordion started up at the top with Robin into Hildebrand, but Keithley just couldn't check up past that. And like you said, Emerson, you can't blame him when it happens that quick. And it caught up a lot of good drivers after that.
Let's watch this onboard with Aaron Smith one more time because he gets hit from behind here. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly who that was that got him. That pushes him into Cody Miller. So that's Daniel Faulkingham initially behind Aaron, but is that who hits him? The crash is going to get going right about now or so right there. He starts checking up and behind. He's going to get collected. Oh, that was actually Benjamin Miles, who just got squirrely trying to check up and got the left side of Aaron Smith. You can see everything else happen back there. It looks like Faulkingham gets through unscathed. And that's a crash.
Yeah, I don't think there was any intent. I think more or less it looked like maybe Aaron Smith was reacting to the wreck, made a little bit of side contact there with Miles, but I don't know the full extent of Miles' damage, but it looks like both trucks will get away relatively clean in what could have been a much worse outcome.
Yeah, you're right on board with Mike Keithley right there, and you just see Michael Keithley goes to check up right there, and then he's over up on his lid, and it just happens so fast. I mean, what we're seeing right there is exactly how he's seeing it, and, you know, about the time you think you should check up, it's too late.
That's a big, big crash. Big crash. A wild ride on that one. What this does do is sort the field out a little bit, give them a chance to kind of take this early pit stop. We're already 1 to green, which means we're restarting this next time on by the start-finish line. A couple of trucks still in the pit lane. Aaron Smith, one of them. Bobby Chaney, another. Looks like David Shutt as well. All getting service here very, very early in this race. Cody Lama's in the pit lane as well. You just saw him actually going through the frame. He will exit the pit lane now. Good to see Cody in this race. We didn't exactly expect him, but glad that he is out here in the number 84 and joining the field for this one. Aaron Smith will stay in the pit lane. Oh, now he finally gets rolling. That truck looks mostly okay, but that left rear damage, Emerson, that could definitely come back to haunt him a little bit. Yeah, that left side is used up.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna feel the effects of that if you're not definitively in the draft. You're gonna feel your truck is lagging behind a little bit when it comes to maybe getting up to speed here. But there's no fast repairs tonight, so that's probably the best he's gonna be able to get here.
We'll have to see what he can do with the bruised up race car. You know, we saw last week a couple drivers being able to make some moves with some bruised up race cars, but with these trucks it may be a little bit different. But I'm excited for this restart. Still a lot of heavy hitters at the front of this field. I think Femi Olot was the driver you picked, Andrew, and he's right there up on that top side ready to go.
You picked Ashley, and she's third. Bobby Zielinski is still in the mix as well. He's top 10. The top 6 trucks stayed out. Those are Baker, Olot, Molyneux, Gregory, Gracia, and Colby. Green flag is back out at Daytona. In a field of 30, we've still got 26 rolling on the racetrack. 26 trucks still on the lead lap. And, oh, we've got trucks all over the place, scattering down the backstretch. One slow truck is in the wall, and that is Patrick Colby right now with an issue. He plows up the outside wall. Lots and lots of damage on that number 9.
The intensity was picking up front. I saw it down the back straightaway. You see right now, TCB, Femiola are nose to tail. Jimmy Gregory was nose to tail as well with Patrick Colby and a few others, and Colby just got hit the wrong way, sent up into the outside wall. Luckily, everyone else was able to kind of turn around, avoid each other and the 9 truck. Looks like we'll keep going. Contact between Olot and TCB.
Contact right there at the front of the field. That'll separate those two a little bit right there and allow Ashley Molyneux to pull that bottom lane with Garcia with her down on the bottom of the racetrack. Close contact right there between Femi Olot and TCB.
Molyneux, Gracia, Baker now the top three. Lockie looking down low. Lockie and Gracia used to be teammates. I believe they still want to work together here, and they're doing exactly that. On the bottom, despite a bobble out of Lockie that time out of turn number 4, TCB leads at Daytona across the line. We're now inside of 10 to go. In fact, 9 to go in this stage, guys. Where, I mean, it's properly crunch time at this point.
Absolutely.
Oh!
No! Oh, that was not clear. He's going to go around contact with the 51 of Molyneux. Gregory's involved in another accident here on the high banks at Daytona.
Caleb, who do I lodge a complaint with for your pick taking out mine?
Well, I wouldn't send it to me. Well, man, I wasn't expecting that. You know, watching him, I saw him coming down the racetrack, as we'll see on the replay right here, Femi Olot. And I was like, surely he's not coming all the way down the racetrack. And Emerson called it perfectly. He was not clear. And I don't know what more Ashley Molyneux could have done. I mean, let's see right here. She held her line. That was completely on Femi Olot trying to fit a truck in a spot that just wasn't there.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, there's more carnage even further behind him. Josh Robin went spinning in the grass as well. I think I saw Aaron Smith with a piece of things. Unfortunately, that's a mistake I would never, ever expect Femi to make. The iRacing spotter likely called him clear, and we can even slow it down when the time is right here. Likely called him clear, Emerson, and you'll know this. It's not always perfect, A, but B, you might be clear for a moment, but the bottom line is shorter. That bottom line, so he's clear right there to turn 1. He's being told he's clear. When TCB makes this move down low, you can see there's the move out of TCB. Femi knows he's clear for at least that moment into the corner, and he moves on down. But that bottom line is shorter. You're making up more ground. And as Femi has to pedal it and get behind Terrell, he loses time, loses ground ultimately to Ashley. Ashley's already there, and it's that split second, that just inches of overlap there that turns Femi Olot around completely on Femi, unfortunately. That collects Jimmy Gregory, collects Benjamin Miles. Gregory comes up and gets a piece of Josh Robin. That's a massive header there for Femi Olot. Seth Noel dips way down onto the apron to try and avoid it. Who else gets a piece of it?
Yeah, many trucks at the back, I think also just kind of reactionary, trying to avoid the accident that may have caused their own little accident towards the back of the pack. But you're right, it's so difficult. With as aggressive as the front of this pack was, understandably, I could see Femi Olot trying to get down to the bottom as soon as he could. We're on board with Aaron Smith here to see what happened here in the back half of the pack. And truck just checking up. Looks like Emery got ran over.
I think that was Cheney that got him.
No.
Well, I mean, after watching this, you know, I asked you the question, Andrew, is it better to run up front and continuously battle for the lead, or is it better to hang out at the back? And I just think that proved both can be treacherous. I mean, we had our leaders right there go for bust, and then it ended up hurting the drivers in the back that were maybe hanging out, you know, just trying to ride around and log some laps.
That was indeed Bobby Cheney who got a piece of Anthony Emery. Matt Hummel gets a piece as well. You see Brett Pancari all but stop the truck on the top lane. Miles went for a loop, and I mean, you're right. The front and the rear of this field can easily be treacherous, and you can have a crash in either one with little to no effort. It doesn't take a whole lot to turn these trucks around, especially. And, well, we saw that there. It's Terrell Baker leading the way under this caution flag. It's lap 19 of 100. And what do you say, Emerson Arden? We dial up the champ. I don't think we've talked to him yet. Out of the great state of Maine, Lobster 207 on that number 20 as per usual. Let's get a word with Daniel Faulkingham.
And we will have the opportunity to talk to last season's champion, Daniel Faulkingham. Hey there, champ. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, fella? It's been a while.
It certainly has been, Daniel. We've seen you come out, to these Daytona races, ready to play tonight. Looks like a lot of moving parts here at the front of this pack. What's it been like? Find yourself up in second when you just were, and maybe in the middle of the top 10 just a few moments ago.
Yeah, the start of this race is certainly crazy. 2 cautions in the first 20 laps, pretty impressive, but during the last 2 races we've had been pretty good. Hopefully to get some luck on my side, because I've been junked the last 2 races. I'm 2 for 2 for getting junked in all these races, so I'm hoping to at least finish one of these once and for all, but hopefully we can be there when it's all said and done. And there's already a lot of people that have been destroyed already, so hopefully this gives us a better shot to go for the win later on in the race, but we still got some stages to get through.
Absolutely, some stages, some guaranteed restarts to go through. With that being said, we've been asking the question amongst ourselves up here, Daniel. Where would, I guess we're safer, but I guess for you, where would you rather be? Towards the front of the field or towards the back of the field in terms of trying to keep yourself in one piece?
I have no idea, considering there's been a wreck at pretty much every part of the field so far. It's kind of, I don't think there is any safe place. It's just being in the right spot at the right time like I was there. I was on the outside and Femi spun, and I thankfully got around it before the entire field got jumped behind me. So it's just all about being right place, right time. Thankfully, we were on that last wreck, so hopefully we can keep that up to make up for all the last 2 weeks that I've had being junked every single race. So hopefully everything works in our favor.
Right on. Well, Daniel, are working through turns 3 and 4 now. We're going to get you back to it, and best luck to you, driver. Hopefully we're talking to you on the far side.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Daniel Faulkingham going to restart from the outside of the front row in just a few moments as the pace car will take the hard left turn back to the safety of pit lane. Green flag is back out. Lap 21 is underway. 5 laps to go in stage number 1. Out of turn 2, on board with Daniel Faulkingham, getting a big push out of, is that Cody Miller pushing him forward? You can see the damage to Ashley Molyneux's machine. She's still holding tough. Second bottom lane. And yeah, that is very much last week's winner in the ARCA race here. Cody Miller pushing Daniel Faulkingham. They had the lead for a moment across the line. It's a drag race to not the checkers, but lap 22. And Daniel, no, TCB had that one by a nose.
Don't look too soon as we near the end of this first stage. Look at that third truck on the outside lane, Bobby Zielinski. I know he is not afraid to take this baby 3 wide if he wants to get himself a stage victory here at Daytona. He's currently looking to see if he can get a run, but he's got no help behind him. We'll see what happens as the laps wind down.
Well, we'll ride on board with Bobby Zielinski, and so far in this race, Bobby Zielinski, in my opinion, hasn't been as aggressive as we've seen in the past couple of weeks, and the past 2 weeks his aggressiveness has got him wrecked early. So right now he let some of those early crashes happen, and he's riding along right now on the top side, three lanes back.
Doing some work on that wheel too out of turn 4. That was a bobble as well for TCB. You can see him to the left side of that wheel. Oh no! We've got a big crash. Bobby's in it. Daniel's destroyed. Oh my goodness.
No.
That will end stage number 1. And I echo your thoughts, Emerson. No.
I feel like the announcer's jinx right there got me, boys.
It got everybody. It got TCB, it got Daniel, it got Bobby. Everybody we've talked about in the last 5 laps is destroyed on the front stretch. Let's take a look back at it. What in the world goes wrong? I would have to assume that maybe Cody Miller gets the 20 sideways. On the right side, yep, just got Daniel sideways. Oh my gosh. Bobby Chaney, Tom Mercier, Aaron Smith diving to the inside on the road course almost. I know a lot of you guys saw the B-roll and initially thought this was a road course race. He thought it was a road course race in that avoidance.
Being Aaron Smith likes to excel at the road courses. I'm sure he wishes this was a road course race anyway.
You know, I wish we had at least one road course race here on the NASCAR road course just for the heck of it with that NASCAR chicane. I mean, it's god-awful, but it would have been fun.
Well, you know, we talked about our picks at the top of the show as we ride on board with Tom Mercier right here. And I'll be honest, I don't think we need to do that picking thing for a while.
No.
You just hit a hard hit. Man, he comes in there late and hits Daniel Faulkingham. Wow. Just never slowed up, and how could you with it happening that fast? But back to what I was saying about the picks, you said it had been a while since we've done the picks, and I think we need to bury that and not do it again because we are 0 for 3.
And now that you've said that, we're going to go ahead and go full in on it next week. We'll have a graphic and everything. Here's Bobby Chaney following Bobby Zielinski. And that's a great look at the bottom side of a Chevrolet Silverado, let me tell you. He alt F4'd as soon as he took that hit. He knew that was going to be donezo for his truck.
these are 3 large accidents in the first stage of this race, guys. We still have 75 laps to go. That's scheduled, after the stage break. We're not going to have anyone left at this rate.
Well, I think, one thing that's a little bit heartbreaking was under that last caution, Andrew got the chance, or Emerson, yourself, you got to talk with Daniel Faulkingham, and he said he had kept his nose clean and hadn't been junked in a while, and he did everything right. I mean, he got his truck out front and was pulling along that top line and just got clipped. I mean, just bad luck continues for Faulkingham.
I'm going to look on board here with Daniel, and what can you do? What can you do? Gets hit there by Tom Mercier. Bobby Zielinski goes for a big ride and all of that. We got to get one more onboard, though. We've taken an onboard now with Aaron Smith in every single crash. He got a little bit of damage in the first one. I think a little bit more in the second. This time, he's just sitting back here once again, minding his own business, and they decide they want to crash up front. Where does he go? He takes a Delara line, on a prototype line. Oh, pit exit. Clips that wall maybe a little bit. Thankfully, gets on through that without much issue. I don't see too much more damage than there already was, and I think there might have been a little bit of netcode contact down there. I think he might have been okay in all of that, but yeah, he's had a pretty scary view out the windshield in this race. This will bring stage 1 to a close. At least it should. Let's actually... Pace car lights might be out. Yes, okay. No. Pace car lights are on. This will end stage 1, which means TCB is credited with this stage win. And Emerson, probably most familiar with this just because of how today has gone. What exactly does that mean for TCB?
Well, TCB, first of all, he's going to come down to pit lane. He got his...
Oh, even not.
Wow. That's an intriguing, I guess, fake of the pit cone there.
There's one way to do it, yeah.
What this would mean for TCB, well, normally if this was a points race, you'd get 10 points and a playoff point to his name, but there's no points up for grabs.
He does get $5 bonus, and if he sweeps the stages and the race, so if he gets the second stage win at the end of lap 50 and wins this race, he will get a $15 bonus. What scares me for him is he is the one truck, the one driver that has not taken a single trip down the pit lane. Fuel is going to be running dry. The only consolation for him, and the reason to have hope here, guys, for the stage 2 win, is with all these cautions, he's saving a lot of fuel. He might be okay to go to lap 50, especially if we get a couple of more yellows, without having to pit and be able to control these stages, get another $5 at the end of stage number 2. It's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible here, Emerson. We get ready to go back green flag racing in just a couple of corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting ready to go. You think the fuel loads, the fuel tanks at 100% fuel can go 35, 37 laps, but we've ran a good, well, we're looking at 12, maybe 13, 14 laps under caution, and some more to go.
So Terrell Baker will lead us back to the green flag. Sheldon Lockey second place. Josh Robin, a shot to the shorts there of TCB. Sean Williams still in this race, bit of right front damage, but still in it. He will line up 4th, Anthony Emery 5th, Elijah Gracias 6th, and we are about to go back racing. Josh Robin on the back end of TCB, Sean Williams on the back end of Sheldon Lockey, and we are racing again at Daytona. Sean Williams already going backwards in a hurry. He might have more damage than we thought.
Someone there in the one as well. There's a little bit of smoke, and the pack is broken up towards the back end as well. So maybe drivers realizing they may not be able to keep up with this pack at second thought.
Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide right there. That got tight, with Williams falling. You saw Ashley Molyneux jump there to the middle lane and make it 3 wide. Still holding on right here in the middle of this pack. Battle heating up for the lead. There's Robbins on the outside shooting for the lead.
Across the line, that's lap 27 in the books. Anthony Emery, Josh Robin in a dead heat across the line. Terrell Baker edging back ahead, maybe of second place, and yes, he's going to have that spot into turns 1 and 2. Robin drops low, Hummel with, they're getting in a single file line. I've not, oh well, never mind. TCB goes up top, Hummel goes with, Robin gets in behind the 44 and pushes Emery along, well, out front.
And let's remember what happened early in this race. Josh Robin, he wants to go forward. He has been expressing that with the placement of his vehicle, and he now puts it right on the rear tailgate of Anthony Emery. He is shoving him to the front. Any spot he can grab, he's going to grab it. Josh Robin came here to play, and even with all the accidents that may have happened around him, he is still here, and he's still pedal to the metal. He is going for it.
But one thing that I've noticed about these NORC cars in 3 races now that I love is none of these drivers are content on just riding or staying in line, trying to get to the end of this thing. It seems like anytime a chance a driver's going to take that shot to go to the lead here at Daytona, they're going to make it happen. They're not going to wait for these laps to wind down in the stage, as you may see in real life. These drivers are just going for it, and I think that's what makes this racing and these NORC Speedweeks so exciting.
Work on through turns 3 and 4. Actually go back on board here with John Barry as he works through the pack. Paint's updating just a little bit, but we're on board with number 74 across the line. He's sitting in the 15th spot. Seth Noel there on the left side. Will Klein out his windshield. There we go. Paint's updating finally. You can see Will Klein's paint. You can see John Barry's paint. They work around 1 and 2. So this is what it's like, and this is where I used to place myself every time I could in these plate races. If I didn't start up front, I would try to sit back around this area, as it looks like one truck is going to go to the back. That looks to be Anthony Emery dropping. Josh Robin goes with potentially. So some mix-ups up front, just guys getting out of order and trying to drop out of situations. But if you're John Barry here, this is where I would want to be. You are close enough, Emerson, to the front pack. You can easily draft up with or around Will Klein and Seth Noel and move up there and fight for a top 10. But you can also sit back here where you give yourself just enough reaction time where if they do start wadding it up, you can either get on the brakes, put on the binders, slow down, or ditch that car to the inside and get down into the grass in a hurry. I like where John is.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple playoff races in other leagues at plate tracks, and this is exactly the mentality I'd have. I don't want to lose that lead draft in case they go green from green to checkered. But I also, if they do wreck, I want to be able to, just get around it as quickly as I can. If I'm far back enough, maybe let the wreck wash down to the bottom. I can go to the top side, but right here, this is about the sweet spot. You can still see most of the pack, and that's another thing. When you're this far back in the pack, you want to be able to see the lead pack. When you're not up in it, you want to be able to see it, see what's going on, just kind of keep yourself in the know of what's going on in the race as the laps kind of continue to tick.
Well, the 93 of Hummel now pulls that top lane as we jump back to the front of this field. Ashley Molyneux back there on the bottom of the racetrack will pull the 22 car, I believe, that is on the bottom of the racetrack. As they swing by here on the backstretch, Ashley Molyneux continues to lead.
That's Lockie in behind the number 51. Sheldon pushing Ashley out to a race lead. They head down to turn 3. Colby suddenly is in line here. Aaron Smith as well. They've really sorted out in a weird way. The front end of this group has gotten pretty single file. And I say that, and they start getting double file again. Sheldon Lockie races to the outside of Ashley Molyneux, and will get a push across the line just ahead of Elijah Gracia. And look at that, TCB right back in the mix.
Yeah, I think they...
Is that Terrell? Where did Terrell Baker go?
He's up there in second.
Okay, he is on scoring. I must have looked straight past the 25 multiple times on the ticker. I'm telling you, I didn't see him on there. I was like, wait a minute, I don't see a 25. Look through the field, I don't see him down there either. So, good catch. Apparently, I'm out to lunch, and maybe it's the pancakes on that truck.
Man, they do look good. But you'll see these guys, they kind of get single file, and that's because a lot of the energy in the pack dissipates, and you can even see that visually with the trucks. The energy kind of spreads itself throughout the field. But then these drivers, I know they don't want to ride single files, Caleb mentioned as well. So what they do is they just kind of re-energize their runs. They kind of, try to get people aligned with them. Maybe they're all in one, TeamSpeak channel. They're all able to talk to each other. Maybe they're like, we're going to jump out here and a few drivers will go whiff, and we'll see what happens. On 3 wide across the line after they went single file just half a lap prior.
Well, we ride on board with Gracia right now out at the front of the field, but you can see coming to his outside is that top lane like a train pushing by. Ashley Molyneux and TCB going to push right to the lead. Now they'll stall out side by side down the backstretch. The 93 car of Hummel will join that party up there on the outside. So a lot of help up there on the outside. We'll have to see if Ashley Molyneux wants to stay up there, continue to pull that top lane if she gets to the lead. But right now, that 42 of Gracia continues to pull that bottom lane side by side for the race lead.
A lot of bumps, a lot of moving here as the tires wear out, and especially for Terrell Baker. He has not pitted yet. He has not taken new tires. A lot of these guys, I'm sure, have. I'm sure they've topped off mostly on fuel, but they've probably taken a tire set at this point. What I do like about this view in particular is Matt Hummel drops out of the lead kind of group here is in the banking, Emerson. Not only do we see the cars ahead and everything, but you can see a lot of what Matt is seeing in the mirror. You can see everybody grouped up behind, and it's just a really cool perspective to look forward and look backwards. Oh no! Oh, no! Lap car high, and Josh Robin just ran smack in the back end of Tom Mercier. I'm surprised there's no caution. The 8 is destroyed. The nose of that truck is done. There's one more lap truck up here, and this has decimated the field. Terrell Baker is sliding back in a hurry. He's crashing. TCB. Oh, no, he's into the pit lane. What in the world is this race?
Oh, goodness.
What just happened? TCB's into pit. Here's Josh Robin in the pits. Obviously, we saw the contact for him. Tom Mercier got absolutely destroyed. And here he comes out of turn number 4, slowly. What just happened?
I believe we're getting ready to find out right here, and your guess is just as good as mine. I'll have to see where this even starts at. You mentioned the lap car, so
Bobby and Tom are slow out of the pits here.
I guess that...
Yellow.
We do have a yellow live now, but this is... We'll go through this first, because this sets all of this up, I'm sure. I guess we'll just watch Tom Mercier. He goes high. Bobby's a little bit slower. A little bit of indecisiveness there, but eventually Tom does commit high, and Josh just goes up there at the wrong time, tries to get on the brakes. Oh, the sea is parted perfectly for nobody else to hit him. And I think Terrell pits out of his own volition here, which is kind of a staggering concept as well. I did not think we'd see that. I thought he would have tried to stretch it to the end, but I guess not good enough on fuel. Comes in, slides into the pits, and then at some point here, Matt Hummel, I believe, has now had an incident. Elijah drops out of the race lead. Patrick Colby has whatever happened. This is up front. These are the leaders. These 4 trucks here. Don't tell me these guys crash on their own.
Fixing to come up here. Hummel has the run. He's going to take it up the middle, and just like what happened with Femi Olot, he's going to think he's cleared at 51.
Oh.
2 for 2 now with Ashley Molyneux being at the wrong place at the wrong time with cars sliding down on the nose of that 51 machine.
Oh, my goodness. That gives us a yellow, but Tom Mercier a lap prior didn't. I'm not saying that shouldn't have been a yellow with Matt Hummel, but how Tom Mercier's accident wasn't a yellow is beyond me. So here's Tom. Again, they come out of the pit lane. This, I've been in NORC now for multiple years. I've seen dozens of races, if not in the hundreds now, with this NORC iRacers. This is a new one. I don't know what's just... Well, I guess we know what's going on. I still just... Oh, my gosh. There's that hit. Matt barely misses all of that. And the reason I'm so confused about this is Tom's going to come to a stop here. And this has got to be... I'm surprised this is not considered the racing surface. I mean, the apron, if you are down on that bottom lane right there, stopped like he was for the moment, Emerson, if you are right there and you came across that banking and his car was still stopped there, you would have demolished the nose of that truck. That's got to be considered the racing surface.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's been updates, and with every season update, we feel the sensitivity of the yellows kind of change. But that one's a new one. I guess Barney the Flagman and his race controller at the tower were out to lunch there. And then this one, Matt Hummel, just one lap removed of that near miss. Just goes spinning off in the infield.
he had gotten the move made too, Caleb. That's what boggles my mind about this one is, as we'll see here in a moment, he gets down in front of Ashley. Like, he gets his bumper there, and Ashley stays in the throttle, and that's ultimately what turns him. Like, he gets there and then keeps going. I guess it's the crown on the bumper. Of course, they are curved bumpers. They're not perfectly straight. I guess it's the crown of the bumper where there's just that bit of curve. He hadn't gotten in front of every centimeter of her truck, I guess, and turns himself off of her nose.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sad to say for him because what a beautiful move he made to shoot those cars 3 wide and a few more seconds maybe, and he's clear. And who knows? I think we could see right there Ashley Molyneux had a run. It was weird, you know. He was able to make that run 3 wide and get past her, but then she pulled right back to him. I think it was a moment like we had with Femi Olot where he was clear for a second, but if you don't make that move right then and there, then you're late, and then this happens.
Well, it is now lap 39. We'll come around and get lap number 40 underway. That'll be 11 laps to go in stage number 2. That will take us not only to halfway in this truck to 50, but to the beginning of the final stage, stage number 3. And that will, again, pay $5 to the stage winner, just like stage number 1 paid $5 to stage 1 winner Terrell Baker, who now lines up in the 11th position for this restart. And again, $75 to the winner. If they are able to win both stages, so only Terrell Baker is now eligible for that, they would get an extra $15. That would make it an even 100, if my math is correct. We want to thank our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Tucson Sound Art, Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine, Whiplash Media, and BAM Racing Videos. Ashley Molyneux is getting ready to lead us back to the green. Patrick Colby will line up second, Elijah Gracia third, Sheldon Lockey fourth, as the trucks literally, that's kind of what I'm talking about with the banking. You would have gone through the front end of Mercier's truck, as that camera went through a couple of trucks quite literally there. Well, let's get this show on the road, I guess. 61 laps to go overall, 11 in the stage. Green flag is back out. Barney the flag man lets Ashley Molyneux, she can accelerate, and we're back racing. On board with Anthony Emery, and again, Anthony's going to drop out of the pack. That leaves everybody else to race to turn number 3. 3 wide, Seth Noel through the middle. What a run!
Well, powered by Patrick Colby and the rest of that outside lane. He now has TCB right on his rear tailgate. Molyneux still has Elijah Gracia on her rear tailgate, and to the line. It's going to be a drag race to the line. It'll still be Molyneux leading 100 miles down, 150 to go here from the World Center of Racing.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, contact almost. Well, there was contact, but a good save by Noel right there on the top side. TCB wasting no time with that shove in the middle of the corner right there. But like I said, Ashley Molyneux's got a lot of damage on that right side of her truck, but you wouldn't know it with how quick she is here with 41 laps of 100 complete.
Seth Noel leading, getting moved all around by Terrell Baker. He's been a great puller, but aggressive on the bumper there as he drops down in front of Ashley Molyneux. We almost had a third spin in the same fashion, in the same race. Thankfully, Ashley facilitates that one, lifts a bit, lets Terrell come on down, and they move out in front of the field and across the line. It's Seth Noel leading with the help of Terrell Baker. 41 laps in the book, Emerson. 9 to go in this stage. Makes 59 to go in the race.
Yeah, it does. And look at that outside lane. Look who's the second truck on the outside lane. That dude was just in a yellow. Matt Hobo now the second truck on the outside lane, and he wants to go to the front with Sheldon Lockey.
Well, he is locked up with Sheldon Lockey, pushing to the front right now. Noel there on the bottom. You see he's got a whole front bumper full of that number 69 of Sheldon Lockey, trying to push him, get some clean air, pokes out to the outside in the middle of the turn, and they'll fall back as the leader will continue to be Noel.
Good view here of the nose of TCB's truck as, he almost hooked the 27 again, and now he goes up high right in front of Sheldon Lockey, and you'll see Seth Noel drop right back to Ashley Molyneux as TCB takes the lead back away at the Daytona International Speedway. He wants to sweep the stages. He wants to not only sweep the stages, but sweep the race and win it here at the end of lap 100. But first, he's got to go through lap 50.
Side by side now, the top four double wide. Sheldon Lockheed staying glued to the rear end of the 25. Whoa. They're dancing, they're swaying, but they're keeping their foots in it. They're keeping going. Here in the 3 and 4, it's Noel Molino still on the bottom side with the advantage.
Such aggressive pushes right here coming. And then there's no way, if you're the car that's being pushed, you can defend that. I mean, you're just holding on for dear life. You see all over the back bumper, both of these drivers, Ashley Molino and the 69 of Lockheed. But you know, in order to get to this front, you have to have an aggressive pusher. Whoa. You just better be able to hold on to it.
Aggressive move there from Terrell Baker. Last second into turn 1 to drop down in front of Seth Noel. Felt like the bottom was better, at least for this couple of corners. He's going to stay down there as Lockheed has a run up top, and Lockheed is, of course, going to try and take that lead away from the number 25. Noel going to stay glued to the back end of that Chevrolet of Terrell Baker. Work around turns 3 and 4. This will be 6 laps to go when we get back to the line here. Your top 5 is Baker, Noel, Lockheed, Molino, and Hummel.
The pack was able to get by via lap truck there of Tom Mercier clean lead this time around. We continue on. Seth Noel looked like he wanted to peek out of line from behind the 25 of TCB, but could not, as that opportunity quickly went away. Sheldon Lockheed, Matt Hummel holding their own. You see Aaron Smith up there, the third truck in the outside lane, trying to get up there, but I don't think he's also much in a hurry to get up to the rear tailgate of the 93 truck.
Speed shot right here as these cars come by on the backstretch now, riding on board right here with, I believe that's Smith as he jumps in that top lane. A nice pull there coming from the 93 of Hummel. First time we've really seen Smith get all the way up in this lead pack and go for something. Ashley Molino now with an aggressive move to jump to the outside of the track, and there's a lap car up by the wall. Everybody will escape clear so far.
Emery scared us for a moment. He went up there and made us think he was going to run into the back of Bobby Zielinski. Now Bobby drops. Well, he thought about dropping down in front of Spencer Owens. Thankfully doesn't. And he will get back in this field. 5 laps to go in stage number 2. And this is the picture up front. Sheldon Lockheed leading. Terrell Baker second. Now a top 3, top 4 breakaway as Ashley Molino goes backwards quick. And there you see it. The move from TCB to get back in front of Sheldon Lockheed is going to bring Seth Noel as support. Elijah Gracia follows suit. Now the top 2 drop. And Elijah Gracia leading that top line is going to have none other than Ashley Molino to push.
Gracia and Molino. Now Gracia drops from the top side down to the bottom lane. I was about to say they've worked well together, where Gracia's been the pusher. That time Molino would have been the pusher. Didn't even have the opportunity to see how it works out. But Matt Hummel is now all over that tailgate of Ashley Molino, trying to get this outside lane moving. Sheldon Lockheed, he led for a brief moment. He's now back on the outside lane. And look at this. You can see right here with the gyro on board from Ashley Molino's cockpit. You can just see how that banking looks and, well, would feel virtually to these drivers.
Well, you talked about Emerson getting that top lane going. Ashley Molino doing that and some, as a nice shot there from Hummel. We'll see what that will do with Ashley Molino's 51 machine up there on the top side. She's still about a car length back from the lead as TCB continues to lead off of turn number 4.
3 laps to go at the stripe. That's all we've got in stage number 2. And for TCB, it's a matter of $5. It might not sound like a whole lot, but when you pair it with the possibility of winning this race and an extra 15 if he does so, plus the 75 for winning this race, you're talking about a whole lot more for Terrell Baker if he can do it. That should be an even 100 if it all works out.
Yeah, 100 buckaroos doesn't sound too bad to earn on a Tuesday night of sim racing with your buds now, doesn't it? The outside lane now starting to get a nice little run. It's only 3 trucks strong. Molino sideways entering the corner, and that's just so hard to do. And it's again, it's not Molino's fault. You're all at the mercy of the pushers behind you, and you'll feel any sort of resistance if you have your force feedback on your steering wheel. But at that, it's not enough to counter something like that. It's just really, you're at the mercy of what happens behind you. And again, Tom Mercier scaring the lead pack.
These lap cars just come out of nowhere, and it's such a quick ride. There's another one, a quick reaction time by these drivers. It seems like when you catch them in the turns and your locked bumpers, how they were, it's hard to see. And, you know, we just saw where Ashley Molyneux in the 93 of Hummel had contact and got loose in turns 3 and 4. Well, they're right back at it, going for the lead.
Now Aaron Smith looking top side, another slow truck ahead of these guys. They'll get it figured out, I'm sure. As here we go. Who is that lap truck, actually? Oh, right in the field. This is Josh Robin holding bottom. And this is the difference between some lap trucks. Some go high, some stay low. NASCAR and ARCA, they tell you to go low. Slow goes low. Same thing in IMSA. A lot of drivers, though, they opt to go high. This, however, is 1 lap to go in stage number 2. It's a side-by-side up front. Terrell Baker down low. Ashley Molyneux up top. Molyneux is going to have help of Hummel. Baker help of Noel, and look at that third line, 69 and 70. That's Lockie and Smith up top, making something work. We've got 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Never mind. Baker goes middle. It's still 3 wide though, as he leads on point. Molyneux glued to the back end of that pancake 25. He drops down now in front of Noel, leaves Ashley Molyneux in the middle. Terrell Baker out of the final couple of corners. Is he going to win a second stage in a row? Ladies and gents, let's find out. Seth Noel and Tone, as he make a move this stage, they're going to crash behind. Molyneux, explosion with Sheldon Lockie, and yes, TCB wins stage number 2.
And what does he win, Jack? Well, it's a brand new pace car into turn number 1 as the caution comes out.
Oh, I never thought we would have gone from that serious of a call to a brand new pace car, but I like it. Sheldon Lockie, lots of damage, though. Ashley Molyneux along with. Those were big hits.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and see what happened there with Ashley Molyneux. You can see, wow, look at the damage on the 51 car of Ashley Molyneux. 2 times she's been involved in a wreck earlier than this, but it was mostly drivers cutting down across her nose, so she didn't have too much collateral damage. But I hate to say that's going to change here now. She took a really hard hit, that outside retaining wall.
Take a look here in just one moment as to what happened out of turn number 4. Watch the 51. Lockie outside. Oh, Hummel came up. Lockie comes back down. Molyneux and Hummel make some contact. Ultimately, Hummel came off the bottom line. Side by side contact. And yeah, that will do it. That will certainly cause that one.
It's... Again, it's Daytona, man. Ashley Molyneux has been the center of a lot of these incidents tonight. Unfortunately, that one...
And not of her own doing.
That one might be the 51 in, though.
Look at it there. Like the initial contact, I think, a little bit of net code, the way they hit. And it's hard to explain it to somebody who, unfortunately, hasn't seen years of iRacing. It's really difficult for me to explain, but let's try and walk you through it. So this will be the onboard again of Elijah Grassi. I feel like this is the best one to watch. Let's watch out the front of this car, I suppose, this truck. And really nothing's going to happen until out of turn 4. Emerson, you'll be able to back me up after I finish all of this. But watch the 51 just kind of come backwards here. They get the bottom momentum rolling. And if we go back to this shot, watch, and we're going to slow this down even, watch this contact out of the corner between the red 93 on the inside and the white and blue 51 on the outside. And it's when they make this first bit of contact, the way the 93 jolts from this bit of contact, in fact, they haven't made contact yet, it's right there. What you see the way they both jolt? That kind of contact, I think iRacing's hitboxes, the prediction code, made it worse. 2 real NAS trucks would have been fine. They would have rubbed doors and they would have kept going. They might have gotten squirrely, but not like that, to where Ashley Molyneux was thrown into the wall and up and around. It would not have happened that bad. Unfortunately, it happens a whole lot worse here in the sim because you get those slight discrepancies, we'll call it, in internet and in prediction code. It's ones and zeros. It's a bunch of lines of code. There's no way to make it perfect, and unfortunately, those little imperfections when you're going 200 miles an hour make a lot of a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it's obviously it's not the real thing. It's as close as we can get at home to the real thing. Unfortunately, that's just something that doesn't happen in real life.
And I know a lot of people try not to talk about it, but
right.
When you see trucks go flying around, sometimes you have to highlight it, and this is one of those times.
Yeah, it's the sim trying its hardest to kind of predict. Because you also got to think, This is 30, 31 different people from all across the country, maybe all across the world, depending on what session you're in, trying to put 31 items moving at 190 miles an hour in the spot that each controller, or in this case driver, wants to put that item. It's a lot for a server to handle. iRacing does a great job at it, but unfortunately netcode, something with ping and distance, somewhere in all that, netcode is created, and that's how that happens.
Well, I can tell you from a person who is an average fan, like I said, that doesn't have a whole lot of sim racing experience, that right there was very important. I wouldn't have known that's what caused it. Like you said, the netcode and that slow motion picture right there really told the story. I mean, like you pointed out, Andrew, that may not have happened in real life. They might have banged doors and kept rolling, but that 93 made contact, moved back into the place it originally was, and then just jolted up the racetrack.
Yeah, it's exaggerated a little bit, unfortunately. We call it net code, but more realistically, it's prediction code, and it's how iRacing, the software predicts where these vehicles are going to be at any one point in time, and it's necessary for the sim to function as it does, because obviously the sim is trying to calculate based on inputs, based on outside forces exerting on that vehicle where that truck, in this case, might go next, and it's just so tough. And it gets it right so often that we take it for granted. It's unfortunate that these few times that it gets it just a little bit wrong that it gets highlighted, but iRacing is a fantastic platform. It works great 99% of the time. That 1% that just isn't quite right. Lap 53 gives way to lap 54. We're back racing. This begins the final stage of the NORCTONA Truck 250. Into turn 3 already. The Daytona Super Stretch gave way to Matt Hummel leading the show. Bottom side is that 93, top side is the 25, and Terrell Baker's going to give him a run for their money. Seth Noel has worked so good with TCB this evening, and it's going to happen once again to the line. TCB leads that one.
Here we go into the third stage. No guaranteed caution. If we can go green, there's a green flag pit stop waiting for all these drivers. TCB and his brand new pace car out the front of the field, trying to see what kind of fuel mileage he can kind of conjure up here. The difference is everybody behind, you see a single file. I don't think it's going to stay single file for long, but a lot of these drivers may be trying to play the field game. I don't know. Maybe they've ran through 50 laps and eliminated half the field. Maybe they just want to make it to the end. But I'll tell you what, if TCB stays out in front, he might be in trouble here if we go green all the way to pit stops.
Well, everybody did even up on that yellow, aside from Jimmy Gregory. That's the one truck that stayed out, and I would imagine to get a wave around. Everybody else pitted under the most recent yellow. I don't know that we're going to have too much issue. And I have to mention, David Shutt, 29 laps down, is pushing Anthony Emery up to the race lead. These two are working together in some way that I've never quite seen. Anthony Emery is about to take over the race lead again. We've not seen that in some time, and that is a 29 lap down truck pushing him. Incredible.
Well, Anthony Emery right there had the lead there for a second, but here comes TCB right there on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll pull back, but TCB only has one truck behind him helping him. It's that 93 of Hummel. They've seemed to be pretty good partners so far in this one. We'll see what this second lane can do, and even there on the top lane, the 42 car of Gracia all by lonesome himself trying to make some room, but unfortunately I think it's going to drift to the back.
Another lap in the books. Aaron Smith drops back, Elijah Gracia drops back, even Patrick Colby losing a little bit of steam into turn 1. As that bottom line gets rolling again, TCB and Matt Hummel. We say bottom line, it's only a few trucks the way this group has worked out. The field is just stretched out so thin of trucks and so long on the racetrack. It's a much smaller pack up front because so many are sitting back. Look at those guys sitting way back of there. And we've had such crazy incidents tonight. A lot of this field is already out for the count.
Yeah, it's tragic. We continue on. I think it lays a lot of these drivers. You see some drivers still up here from, that were up here from the drop green flag, like TCB. But other than that, a lot of these drivers have been at the back of the pack, keeping their noses clean, or maybe involved in direct in some other capacity. There's not too many clean vehicles out there left. But I think a lot of these drivers, if they were, back there trying to keep their trucks in one piece, that's, I think, going to reflect on this second half of the race. And, I don't see it being as aggressive. I see maybe these mainstays up front, everybody else who's been taking it easy, I think they'll continue to take it easy up until it's crunch time. When it's a crunch time, well, that's where each driver to determine for themselves.
Well, I mean, you've made it this far when you are some of those drivers you just said that's been taking it easy. You don't want to jump the gun now and ruin your race at lap, let's say, 60, 65. I mean, whether you ruin your race, well, I shouldn't say ruin, but get caught up in a wreck or a misfortune at lap 35 or 65, it makes no difference. Right now, you're racing for the end game, and so I think right now being patient is the most important part. So let's see how these drivers shake out. A lot of these trucks here in this top 10 have a lot of damage, but they're still racing strong.
One truck I'm surprised doesn't have more damage just from the sheer amount he's been getting pushed is the 25 of Terrell Baker. We saw a lot more damage earlier on in this race, and it's kind of mellowed out now. It's he's had a chance to get some optional repairs to that truck, and here's a look at it again. You can see that the center has just been punched in a few times. I'm surprised it's not worse. I really am, as the top line actually went backwards very, very quickly there. I wonder if there was a bobble while we were on board. But yeah, I'm very surprised the back end of the 25 doesn't look worse, and I'm surprised that nobody's hooked him turning, while pushing him yet. And I will knock on wood for all of you TCB Nation. I don't want that to happen, but I'm surprised it hasn't yet.
Yeah, it's really something. It's about, maybe getting lucky with who he gets paired up with. Also, just, I don't know, not being precise when he makes a move. See Matt Hummel now jump out of the line, and Elijah Grassi wants to take it 3 wide for the race lead here on lap 60. We got 100 miles to go as they cross the line this time by.
Well, Emerson, the patience we were just talking about, you could throw that right out of the window. The 42 car of Gracia just made it 3 wide right there, gained the position he wanted, but now he pulls the 93 car of Hummel with him. I think that 42 is perfectly content with staying there on the outside and is going to try and push for the lead.
This pack never ceases to surprise me. The way they're racing, I have 0 predictions for you guys. Patrick Colby now assumes the lead of the bottom side. The top side is strongest with TCB, Elijah Gracia, Matt Hummel, and Aaron Smith for the well, not anymore, because Aaron Smith drops down behind Sean Williams, and Jared Darling pops up behind Matt Hummel. That's going to bring Ben Miles up there as well, as Emery drops down behind Cody Miller, who dropped down behind Aaron Smith. So this entire pack has now been moved around. It gets moved around some more because look at that. TCB, Elijah Gracia dropped down to the bottom side in front of Patrick Colby. And everything is shaken out once more, this time with TCB right back out front. There's a lot of you chiming in on YouTube. We certainly appreciate it. A lot of you guys asking about stages. To be honest, we were surprised too. We don't know, but we can assume that there will be stages throughout the rest of NORCTONA Speedweeks. We imagine following that of NASCAR, because of course these races are matching real-life distances with the ARCA 200, the Truck 250. Next week is a 300-miler in Xfinity cars, and in 2 weeks' time is the NORCTONA 500, a full 500-mile race, 200 laps at the Daytona International Speedway in Gen 6 NASCAR Cup cars. We can only assume we'll have stages for each of those races. We also just like to see you guys out there. Josh Robin has chimed in, Ariati has chimed in, Marcus Riggle, King Tigers. We see you guys. We appreciate the support. We just want to thank you.
Elijah Grassi looked like he peeked to the outside, now to the inside for the race lead. We ride on board now with, looks like this is the 9 of Patrick Colby pushing Elijah Gracia out to the front of this pack. They go side by side with TCB. They worked so well with one another. Now they break apart, and it's now TCB on the highest side. He's got Matt Hummel, and how about Jarrett Darling on the highest side? Now on the bottom side, it's Elijah Gracia, Patrick Colby, and Sean Williams on the bottom side.
Well, right now, a run's coming from the 93 of Hummel to the 25 of TCB as he makes an aggressive move to the bottom of the racetrack. If you want to know where TCB wants to run tonight, just look at that move right there. Jumps down to the bottom of the racetrack, going to pull that bottom lane. But one thing we've seen out of TCB tonight is he's been able to make both lanes work. You see him peeking to try maybe jump in front of that 93 car of Hummel.
Oh, big bobbles there. Rossi got Baker upset for a moment. Thankfully, no further issue. That could have been rather unfortunate. The rest of these guys now working through 1 and 2. I wonder what these guys can do up top. This is the first time we've seen Jared Darling in any competitive capacity. He's been hanging back all race long. It's good to see Jared up here. I know he so badly wants to win one of these races. Talked to him a bit last week after the show, just trying to pump him up. He can absolutely get out here and do it. He's done it before. He just needs to play his cards right and hope that nobody else gets in the way of it, right? So often, these drivers play their cards perfectly. They play a good race. They just, unfortunately, get taken out by whatever ends up happening. Sheldon Lockie stays low in the pack, squeezes to get on by, and thankfully they do.
Man, oh man, I clenched up when I saw the pack approach the lapper there of Sheldon Lockie. And yeah, Jared told me he was going to be at the back of the pack for the majority of this race, and it's worked out for the most part. Very minimal damage on the left front there, but otherwise a very clean truck. And he's up here and ready to do battle here in the final stage of this race when the pack has basically thinned itself out. There's only a handful of competitive trucks left, and Jared Darling's right here up in the thick of it.
Well, we always say when it comes to these races, the cream rises to the top when you get to the end. We've gotten through both stages. Obviously, Jared Darling wanted to keep his truck clean. I think he knows the most important part of this race is the finish rather than the stages. He's right in there third on the outside lane. What a move there by Hummel to make it 3 wide at the line. Give that lap to the 42 car of Gracia right there in the middle of the racetrack. But 3 of the best trucks we've seen all night. 3 wide racing for the lead.
3 abreast in the front row. Now TCV is clear of them all. Colby in that bottom lane. Elijah Gracia moved around Colby up the track a little bit. TCV comes up and blocks Hummel, who takes the run to the middle of the racetrack. Aggressive moves out here.
And look at that.
Oh my gosh.
They're darting all the way around the back straightaway. Hummel went from the top side to the bottom side in the same lap. Meanwhile, there's still 3 wide in that third row of the pack. And notice, Jared Darling, he has since backed out of this lead pack. He does not want any part of what's about to potentially transpire here at the front of this pack.
Can't say I blame him.
Well, I was took the words right out of my mouth, Andrew. Once I saw that number 1 car dip out of the picture, it kind of gave a telltale that he really is racing for the end game and trying to stay clean. Oh, contact right there. That 93 car of Hummel gave a shot to the 25 car of TCB off of turn number 2.
These guys do know there's 34 laps to go, right? This is getting crazy. Now, what would not be a bad idea for any one of these guys to do, well, I guess any 2 of these guys to do, pit now. You're good to the end from here. Pit now, get out of this pack, save your truck, and make sure you're in a group when you do it. But pit now, get the heck away from all of this craziness. That would be what I would do at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe closer to 30 laps to go, just so you know you'll be okay if there's overtime attempts. Maybe closer to 30 laps to go, we see some drivers kind of group up and do that, especially maybe people who are in the same camp as, say, Jared Darling, who doesn't want to be involved in any sort of drama. You got a couple people that you trust, and you know you can push really well, even if it's just 2 or 3 of you. You all go to pit lane. Y'all make sure you don't speed. Make sure you slide through your box, get out all in one piece, and keep your speed up. Stay on the lead lap, or at least within a good enough range of if a yellow does come out, or just keep your speed up for when the pack pits, you'll be able to merge right in with them.
Drivers race there off of turn number 2, or actually, sorry, that was turn number 4 down the backstretch. A good shot there from Hummel to keep TCB out front of this field, and TCB is one of those trucks that hasn't been afraid to make those aggressive moves, whether that is to block the bottom if the run's coming there or jump to the top and pull along the top lane. It was 93 car. If Hummel jumps to the top, and you see TCB tries to go with him.
TCB stays down low. I can tell these guys are about to pit. You can see them lining up on the bottom of the racetrack. When they get single file like this, that's a key indicator. They are getting ready to pit. Hummel pulls ahead, gets that race lead. Gracia stuck up top, Colby up top, Miles up top, but these guys are planning pit stops. The way they're getting single file, Emerson, that is telltale. They're ready. They're just putting themselves in a position that when they have to make their move down to the pit lane, they don't have to do it from the top lane, they don't have to do it from the middle lane. Look at how single file they are. This is on board with Cody Lamas back here in 14th spot. When they go into the corner, look at this. A long line.
This is about the most organized this field has been since they rode off the pit lane, double wide, 15.5 rows deep. Now, I don't disagree with you one bit. I think, you know, they're all setting up the pit. But I can't imagine everybody's getting ready to pit, right? I mean, there's still 30
Well, they know what's
laps
coming
to
up.
go.
There's only a 10-lap window or so. There's only a 10, 20-lap window. They know what's coming up. And at this point, with how hectic this has gotten, why not just line up?
Well, the question I have for you, and you guys who have been a part of sim racing for a long time can answer this for me. When these drivers come to pit road, you said obviously they're getting single file, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack as wow. TCB jumps to the bottom right there. How do these drivers let each other know that they're coming to pit? Let's say in real life, they can stick their hand out of the window and wave, hey, I'm coming this lap. You know I'm going to check up. In iRacing with these sims, how do these drivers let each other know when they are coming to pit lane?
Well, there is voice chat in the sim, but they are also all in TeamSpeak. At least most of these guys, there's a few exceptions to that rule. But they communicate well. As you can see, a couple of guys maybe having some fun out there, swerving on the backstretch and staying shut doing so. But there will be some guys that use iRacing text chat maybe. They've got a preset button to say, hey, coming in this lap, and they'll hit that on the backstretch. There is also guys that, you know, obviously communicating in TeamSpeak, getting ready, saying, hey, we're going to pit on this lap. Looking like might pit on lap 75. And honestly, I'm thinking maybe lap 75 is when these guys come in. It's a relatively tight window. If you think 35 laps, really, that they can run, that puts them hitting anywhere from 85 to, what, I guess 65? That sounds about right, Emerson?
Yeah, to make that, you know, 30 to 35 to 37 lap field window, that makes sense from the time they restarted. Matt Hummel now takes the lead, and now I know most of these guys know each other. They probably don't have to do as much communication.
Exactly.
But saying you're doing like an NAS or something, everybody will start keying up about 5 laps after. Hey, when do y'all want to pit? This is my field level. You know, second place. Let me know what's happening. You know, yada yada yada.
It was interesting to learn right there how exactly they communicate, but I definitely think more and more of these cars you can see taken to the bottom of this racetrack getting single file, so perhaps 75 is the number for these drivers.
I think it is. Watching the way these guys are getting ready, I think they're going to cut it in half, maybe go to 80 for some of these guys. We'll see. But they know it's on the way, and they know they've got to ride around right now. There's no sense in racing too hard. Go ahead, let's just plan for the pit stop and you know, get to the far side of it, and that's going to break this field up so much, like we saw in the NORCTONA 500 last year. It's going to break this field up, and that's been the way it's gone. But I like what you touched on, Emerson, where these guys know each other. There's a few exceptions that are a bit newer. Seth Noel comes to mind. I think Cody Lamas, just because he doesn't run as much anymore, but he's very familiar with these guys as well. Let's see, looking through the rest of the top 10, I think maybe Matt Hummel is a little more foreign these days. Hasn't run, like I said with Cody, hasn't run maybe as much. But these guys know each other very, very well, especially the ones that are left. They know their own tendencies. You know, having raced with them now for so long and seen them race for so long, they know their tendencies. They know when to start planning. They're all very smart sim racers. They're all varying levels of speed, varying levels of talent, but they're all smart sim racers, and they know that this round of pit stops is on the way. This is on board back here with Brett Pancari in the 14th spot. And again, you can see how so many are lined up on the bottom. They just know it's on the way. There's no point in racing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And say maybe you're, I mean, of the groups, or you're good friends. Especially, I think maybe if there's people who are on the sim and then people who are transitioning, maybe being with those higher I-rating levels of drivers, or just people with more experience on the sim, they then spread that knowledge on to their peers and their friends. And I expect most of this group, if not everybody in this group, kind of knows like what the mentality is at around pit stop time. You see most of the pack obviously single file and doing so.
Well, we are at that lap 75 mark now, or we're sitting at lap 75. We'll see if any takers. No, not right now. So far, no one going to come to pit lane. But I will tell you this, once these drivers do come to pit lane, and they get their pit stop, fuel, tires, whatever they may choose, it's going to be a race to the finish from that point out. I don't think you'll see any of this letting anybody in or making a second chance. I think it's going to be push it to the limit all the way to the end of this race.
Oh, some checkups up front. Miles got out of shape way ahead, and now Llama's going to take the run to the outside of Owens, to the outside of Klein. You saw Darling duck back down to the bottom side. That jostles this pack just a little bit. I enjoy these vantage points from way back in the field. Let's go on board with Spencer Owens here in the 13th, 14th spot. The top group is starting to get side by side again. I'm pretty surprised. This pit stop may not be as looming as I thought. I mean, I really thought the way they were getting in line, that looked like pit stop formation, and they've been in that formation now, Emerson, for 10, 12 laps, and to your credit, I think they're just waiting a little bit longer. The conventional strategy is to run the fuel out as long as you can. If you get an extra lap out of the draft, you can potentially catch a caution and stay up front with the pit stop, because at that point everybody's going to come in for tires maybe. Maybe they're defying what I thought, because they're starting to race a whole lot more. As far as what they take on this pit stop, it's going to be a little bit split. If you take a full tank of fuel, you're taking enough time for at least 2 tires, if not 4. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some split strategy as far as the tires go. These Goodyear Eagles, they can handle the 50 laps from the end of stage 2 to the end of stage 3, but it's nice to have that grip, especially if you're going to be making wild moves here at the end, just to have that security, especially once the fuel burns off, to not have the rear end get so light and so squirrely, to have that extra grip in the Goodyear rubber. It's security.
Absolutely, and you know, my first thought when we have a conversation like this, what do you take on a green flag pit stop, is pit exit. And now I normally I'd say these drivers, you know, they're better than that. They know even if they take 2 tires or no tires, they're not gonna make a mistake on pit exit. But it's difficult when you're in the mentality trying to gain as much time as you can, and that's a very slippery and flat pit exit. Mistakes can happen. Drivers can spin out on that pit exit if they don't have, you know, 4 fresh tires. You'll see that. That's why one of the most common mistakes you see in official races with green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I have exited multiple NORCTONA 500s the exact same way. Something about pit exit here, especially when whenever NORC would come to Legacy Daytona. It always caught me off guard. I do want to mention, shout out to John Barry going up here and taking the race lead. At some point, he decided it was time to race, and now goes up top and is going to drop back. He got his lap led. But Caleb, I can tell you from experience, pit exit, one of the toughest things on iRacing for some reason. I don't know why. Some guys have no problem. I always found it was difficult. I don't know what it is, but that always caught me out. As these guys are racing, they must be planning on about 5 more laps before they pit.
Well, yeah, I mean, we said between 75 and possibly 85. It seems we're going to push more towards the north of that 85 number right now as they continue to race. What's so strange is how single file they got, as if they were coming in 1 to 2 laps, only to get back double file right now, and pretty intense racing. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most intense we've seen so far tonight, but a lot of these drivers not taking any prisoners and going for it.
Yeah, they have suddenly packed right back up and gotten side by side again, especially up front. As you can see, Terrell Baker going to go up top and take the help of Aaron Smith, who now drops down low. And we'll go with Elijah Gracia and Cody Miller. And that leaves TCB up there with Brett Pancari and Matt Hummel, with Seth Noel way up high. And if you're Aaron Smith, you just lucked into a fantastic position. You're now second in line on the bottom side. Whenever these guys do pit, you are in a prime position to get in good, get out good, and control your pit stop pretty nicely. That said, look at TCB controlling this race once again, drops down in front of Elijah Gracia and keeps that spot.
Another thing, when we're getting ready to pit, is something I always have to just remind myself, where did I end up qualifying? Because the way iRacing orders their pit boxes is by the starting order. And, if you're somebody maybe towards the back of the pack, you're going to see the back of the pack coming in the pit lane, you have to think to yourself, when's the first pit box on pit lane, and how far down do I have to think about where's my pit box on pit lane? It's difficult when you have 15 trucks in front of you, all trying to find pit boxes, all scattered up and down the pit lane. And you see your pit sign, you're now much past it. Either you're going to have to stop, try to back up, or just try again the next lap. It is a tough thing to do when you pit in these packs.
Well, it's so fascinating for me to listen to you two talk about this from experience. I mean, I'm a student of the game, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can, especially on something new like this. But Emerson, you just pointed out a lot of things that would have even crossed my mind that would become difficult on pit lane. You're getting in your correct pit box, and if we see all of these trucks go together, that's going to make for something interesting.
Getting closer to that mark. Just about 5 to 8 more laps of fuel in these trucks. The draft obviously going to help them go a little further than if they were single on their own. And here we go. Pit lane going to get busy. Seth Noel gets left out. But everybody else, 8 trucks, 7 trucks going to come in the pit lane. That includes TCB, Elijah Gracia, Aaron Smith, and some more. It looks like Sean Williams, Matt Hummel, Sheldon Lockie. So split strategy here. Some coming in on 82 onto 83. Others waiting at least one more lap. We're going to stay on board with TCB for his pit stop and see just how long it takes.
Don't slide the boxes, boys, and then make sure you hit your marks, and we'll see now the grab bag of strategies come to life as they reorder themselves off the pit lane. TCB still in the box, down and away, 12.2 seconds, going through his brand new pace car, and again up to speed once again on that pit exit.
We go out of turn number 4, going to do it all over again, I think. Brett Pancari leading, Jared Darling second, and yes, here the rest of them come. A couple stay out. Maybe no, they just try and lurch forward. That was Will Klein. Ben Miles stays out, though, as look at this herd coming into the pit lane. Jared Darling going to lead them all. Looks like everyone might have gotten down to pit speed just in time, and everybody going to go down the pit lane and get service just about the entire field. Noel actually might have had an issue. I think he had to abandon his run in the pits. No, he's just so much deeper in the box because, in the pit lane because he got pole.
Well, that first pit stop's going to pay dividends for
much
Noel.
quicker stop for these guys. I hate to interrupt you. Much quicker stop for these guys. We're talking about a half second to a second per.
We'll see where they all merge out now on the pit exit. Drivers get up to speed, trying to keep themselves under control on that treacherous pit exit. You see Elijah Grossi and Aaron Smith powering by the rear end of this pack. Right there is the one of Jared Darling, who was one of the drivers leading the charge on the pit lane. We have a full head of steam coming by this pack, who's just getting up to 4th gear.
Well, these cars starting to all get back together now. As you mentioned, Andrew, how quick those pit stops were. There's TCB kind of in the thick of things, trying to get back out to where he has a clean nose out front. 3 wide after the pit stops. We're getting ready for some really good racing out to the finish.
Bakari scared me. He dropped down onto the apron for a moment across the line. It's not Gracia leading. Now it is. Ben Miles went that extra lap, and that's going to destroy the race for the 35 truck. Now he exits the pit lane, and that's a big difference already. It is 3 abreast, 3 lanes deep, or 3 rows deep, as TCB now drops in front of Aaron Smith. Shutt thought about it, but he's 3 wide. Now TCB controlling this race once again, playing Pied Piper. The way he has controlled this race is astonishing.
I give it that. It is tough. With this caliber of drivers, and I know a lot have been eliminated, but still, such a great group of drivers left in this race. TCB has been able to kind of control and command this race. He's placed his number 25 Chevrolet Silverado wherever he wants, whenever he wants. He has Elijah Gracia peeking to his outside, but TCB has always been the mainstay at the front of this pack. Now with 15 laps to go, Elijah Gracia to the lead.
Elijah Gracia to the lead, as you just mentioned, with Smith up there in the top lane. Here comes Baker there on the bottom. Barry now getting up in this fight. Look at the push that TCB is going to give to that 42 of Gracia out front. Smith starting to get up there to second now in that yellow 70 with a nice push by Barry.
John Barry, Seth Noel getting that top lane rolling. Aaron Smith going to drop down. Boy, that always gives me anxiety watching those guys do it. 7 cars, 7 trucks up front, 6 trucks actually. The rest of these guys sitting back, they know how NORC plate races go. A lot of times they know there's still likely at least 1 wreck on the way. I would be very surprised if we don't see 1 more caution.
Absolutely. And I know there's only 11 trucks in this entire lead, 11 lead lap trucks in this lead draft, 15 still on the lead lap. There's still a lot of energy up here. With the caliber of these drivers, everybody wants to kind of fight for the front, especially looking at those laps tick down and knowing there's $75 dangling at the start-finish line at the completion of lap 100. John Barry trying to make sure he doesn't have to give away those $75 as he goes to the front.
He does jump to the front right now using that top lane. He's got the 27 car of Noel there just behind him. Looks like Barry thought about jumping to the bottom, but as we've seen so far in this race tonight, that bottom lane closes up faster, and he thought better of it, which was probably a good move now as him and Smith are side by side.
They work on by the lapped Daniel Faulkingham on the bottom side. Field squeezes up to the top 2 lanes and now drops right back in front of Faulkingham. Good moves throughout to stay clear of that number 20. We've got 13 laps to go in the NORCTONA Truck 250. Terrell Baker, he's led a bunch. Aaron Smith, he's seen a bunch of crashes. Elijah Gracia has just been in the mix. John Barry is the late addition. That's your top 4 as they work through 3 and 4 one more time. They'll come around to take 12 to go.
Side by side, and now that second little grouping up in this lead pack has closed up to the front runners. We're right on board with TCB. Look at the day he's had. He's led 38 laps today. I mean, that is a lot of laps when you think we've only ran 89 at a track that's so unpredictable like Daytona. Up front, he is pushing Aaron Smith up on the inside lane. Elijah Gracia, John Barry still knows to on the outside lane. Which lane will prevail is all dependent on how well of a job TCB does or how well of a job John Barry does.
Well, right now, both drivers giving equal effort. That top side, you can see Edge is a little bit ahead. That's Barry giving that push to Gracia. But now, you look right back on the bottom. TCB stays hooked up with Smith. He'll push Smith back out front to the lead.
Out of turn 4, we'll come across the line and take 11 to go. TCB with those 39 laps led. It's only been 50, now 51 laps that he has not. And like you said, Emerson, in a race of 90 laps so far, that's a staggering amount compared to the rest of the field. Elijah Gracia, though, he's starting to rack him up himself. Aaron Smith starting to gather his own few. Seth Noel's been around. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this number 27 truck of Seth Noel. He has just been in the mix every time he's needed to be. He's stayed out of trouble. Well, he might go 3 wide, though. He looks to the middle. John Barry just gets in front of Seth Noel. I would not have been so impressed if he took this field 3 wide and crashed him.
Man, but I mean, at the same time, you got to show the level of aggression, the level you're going to take your truck to try to get yourself 75 big ones. And now 3 wide for that second position. John Barry leads them all as he leads that middle line. Now he's going to be taking 3 wide. TCB up high. Elijah trying to fight up the inside. 3 by 3 at the front of this pack and almost another 3 behind.
Look at how quick this race can change. TCB was on the bottom a short time ago, pushing Smith to the lead. Now he finds himself on the 3rd outermost lane of the racetrack, getting a push from the 44 of Emery. Here comes that push. He'll try and get the lead back from Barry in turns 3 and 4.
3 wide, multiple rows deep. 10 laps to go the last time, 9 to go this time. Cody Miller's back in all of this, albeit some laps down. This is going to get good. About the top 10 or so all in the same group. And it's 3 wide, almost a dead heat at the line. That looked like the inaugural Daytona 500 finish. How are they going to do it in 9 laps?
Well, we got to survive that 9 laps first. Then looks like that outside lane has started to lose a little bit of momentum. TCB will file himself back to 3rd truck now on the outside of a two-lane pack. He wants to peek out once again. Man, I just don't know how they survive just knowing the nature of how these NORC races end, but I don't know how they survive anyway with the energy that's up in this lead pack for the next 8 or so laps.
Well, this is shaping up to be a race to the finish right now. Drivers trying to make the bed they're going to lay in. Gracia there on the bottom of the racetrack with Smith behind him. The 74 car of Barry up top with Noel just behind him as well. Don't count out TCB. He's in 5th right now, 3rd in that outmost lane as they race into turns 1 and 2.
Pace laps at 190 miles an hour. Elijah Gracia leading the bottom side. Aaron Smith following. John Barry up top, and he's got Seth Noel, and then TCB 3rd in line on the top side. That red truck on the bottom, that is Cody Miller, some 36 laps down one-upping David Schutt's 29 by just a little bit. Somehow that 28 is still competitive. Out of turn number 4 this time, it's going to be Gracia bottom side still, Barry top side still, and we're going to have some 7 laps to go in the NORCTONA Truck 250. This NORCTONA Speedweeks, I think, has always been something that NORC has needed. This has been a fantastic month of racing, and we're only 3 races in.
A lot of Daytona to go around for these NORC drivers, and they've come to perform each and every time so far. This time by, it'll be 6 laps to go. It's Elijah Grossi now starting to nose out in front, but down the back straightaway. The hill, the banking off of turn 2 will get John Barry a little closer to the nose there of Elijah Gracia, but his health has kind of started to lag off his rear tailgate a little bit. Noel is not glued to the 74 truck as much as I think John would like him to be.
Riding on board right here, Smith just behind Gracia here. They come through the tri-oval now. Make it 6 laps to go here at the stripe. Barry still pulling that outside lane with a push from Noel. I'm curious to see, Andrew, how long Baker's going to sit there and ride in that third place in that outside lane. He's been aggressive all night, but he's been riding there for a few laps. Maybe he's just setting up a run to the finish.
He's been aggressive in his blocking. He hasn't been too aggressive in his moves until now. Emery going to go with, and we're going to have 3 wide once again. That's 5.5 laps that time down the Daytona Superstretch left in this race, and Terrell Baker goes right back to the top side to get something rolling. It doesn't work yet. Emery falls off. He's going to need a stronger truck with less damage if TCB wants back in this race for the win. He falls back to about 5th spot it looks like, as that 28 again. 36 laps down. Sean Williams, how about that number 89 in all of this, Emerson? I don't know how he's kept his truck in it, but he has. Dipping onto the apron for a moment, getting a look at the rest of the field, and you know how I counted TCB out a corner ago? He is right back to the top side of the lead.
3 by 3 by 3 as we come around to 4 laps to go at Daytona. Everybody wiggling, hanging on for dear life, trying to hold on to these pushes. John Barry dives into the bottom side, now leaves Seth Noel to lead the middle lane. The middle lane, can it stay strong with only 2 trucks? That's also going to affect the outside lane. TCB, his momentum has since dropped, but he's got Anthony Emery and Jared Darling trying to push that outside lane. John Barry storms ahead on the inside.
Barry leaves the guy that got him to the front of the field. That was Noel. He jumps down to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes a run from TCB up on the top side. 2 trucks back there helping him. Can't get clear of the middle lane. His run falls out as the bottom comes back to life with Barry leading the inside lane.
Every other corner, that top line gets something going, but down through the corners, it just stops. It's every other straightaway, really, where they get something rolling. This time, you can see them trying to, and actually, TCB is clear. He drops down to the middle lane with help from Emery, now drops in front of John Barry. An aggressive move, and he takes this lead back away. The sole leader at Daytona. John, though, going to go up high. Revin wants to fight.
What a power move from TCB, who's dominated today. John Barry fights himself back to the outside lane. 3 laps to go. He now leads a 4-truck train in the middle of the Daytona International Speedway.
A fist fight between the leaders breaking out now with just 3 laps to go. Who's going to be able to deliver the knockout punch? TCB down at the bottom of the racetrack. He's got Gracia behind him, but don't count out Barry. They're in the middle lane getting a push from the 44 of Emery. Put those drivers back out at the front of the field.
On board with TCB, almost at a gap. He gets to the inside of John Barry, 2 lap trucks ahead. Those should be, I believe, the 83 and 1 other. Out of turn number 4, 2 laps to go at Daytona. Lap trucks in front. One of those is going to be Ben Miles, more than likely. And this is going to constrict this field one more time. Do they go high? No, they stay low. TCB going to lead the field high. That's Hummel and Miles down low. This is going to throw a wrench in everybody's plan.
This is going to jostle the energy of this pack. This is going to generate some runs people weren't accounting for. Darling, near contact, actually does make contact with Hummel. We stay green, they stay straight. John Barry, a power run down the back straightaway. Elijah Gracia is glued to the tailgate of TCB's Chevrolet Silverado. Once again, It is a dead heat at the front of this pack. Actually, now advantage John Barry, but out of 4 truck in the wall, do we stay green to the line?
So far, so good. Green to the line. Both of these drivers have their dancing partners. 1 lap to go here at Daytona.
White flag, presented by Tucson Sound Art. John Barry drops in front of Terrell Baker. TCB is going to have to fight back. Anthony Emery up top. Jared Darling with a run. He's going to get that 44 going out of turn number 2. Watch this topside sail. Does Jared go high? He's going to have help. Contact the top line Rex. It's going to be mano John Barry and Terrell Baker back to the line at Daytona. It's the NORCTONA Truck 250. 2 of the best in the business, gonna do battle out of turn number 4. Contact there, TCB to the top side, and they're gonna race down a turn, well, the tri-oval really. TCB is finally going to win on Pit Stop TV.
By 7/1000ths of a second, TCB does it at Daytona.
Have you ever?
Man, oh man. No, I've never.
No, I have never.
Fireworks in the mirror for TCB. It has taken him a full season of racing plus several special events to finally win on Pit Stop TV. He's done it so many times before. Won the 2020 running of the NORCTONA 500. Couldn't repeat. Finally gonna chuck that 25 into the grass. Finally gonna do burnouts.
And well deserved too. If there's anybody you could, the congratulatory jolt across the infield. If there's anybody that should have won this race just on pure stats alone, it'd be that 25 truck. He dominated tonight.
Wow. You know, I thought about on the stage breaks trying to get a word with TCB, but there was no way with the way, you know, we interviewed Daniel Faulkingham, the champion, for the first time since he won the championship way back when in season 13. There was absolutely zero way that I was going to be responsible for jinxing TCB Nation and sending him to the wrecker early. Absolutely no way. Wasn't going to have it. No way, no how. We left him out there, and am I glad we did. We left him out there. We didn't jinx the guy, and he's going to sweep the night. He's going to take home a cool 100. John Barry was fighting for his own pocketbook there at the end, let alone the race win, and it didn't work out. TCB, can you believe it, guys?
Happy for him, I mean, to say the least. He drove a clean race all night, and he was patiently aggressive, I should say. Like you said throughout this race, he wasn't necessarily just trying to drive through the pack, but when he did get out front, he was going to let you know he was there and block to keep himself out front all race long.
Incredible. Look at what happened there. The top line just stacked up. Nobody did anything wrong. They crash. This was the run back to the checkers. Let's go on board with TCB. What does he do here? He starts looking high. John's going to keep defending up there, and eventually TCB has enough of a run, maybe some contact to get up there, and at that point, he's got the best line. Into the stripe he went, winning the NORCTONA Truck 250 in spectacular fashion. 7/1000ths of a second. John took a swipe there at the end, but it wasn't enough, and that is how this race goes down in glory.
What a show. I mean, you know, it's tough to be entertaining for 250 miles, 100 laps at Daytona, from green to checkered. And the Northfield just does it again. I mean, I'm no longer surprised. I really wasn't surprised. We started covering North last season. But my goodness, it's something to, you know, continue to be able to cover just such a great show with these Tuesday nights.
Well, as my adrenaline comes right back down, I tell you what, that is the most hyped I think I've been for a finish in some time. To finally see Terrell put the 25 in victory lane where it so rightly belongs is very, very cool for us to finally have on this channel. I can only imagine the adrenaline for TCB. I can only imagine. We're going to go ahead and get them. We're going to get everybody sorted out down here. TCB, John Barry, and Aaron Smith. It's a good day to have a number in the 70s, certainly. Can you believe, though, guys, as well, that Aaron Smith comes home in the top 3 after all of that? After everything he saw, the wrecks in the first stage, him being in just about every single one of them, he's going to come home with a cool top 3. We have got the top 3 ready for you this evening. Terrell, you won! Woo! Finally, TC. We've been waiting for it. All right, we've had a whole season of racing. We've had some special events, and that 25 has not been in victory lane until now. You started outside pole. You swept the stages. We thought about interviewing you. I said, no, ain't no way I'm responsible for a TCB jinx. Not today. And it works out. Victory in one of the weirdest NORC races we've seen in a long time.
Dude, you call it weird, I call it funny. That race was so funny, and it was a lot of fun. Man, to sweep all 3 stages, or I guess, yeah, all 3 stages, even at Daytona, man, I mean, that's hard to do. I can't believe I won, man. It's about time that I won with Pit Stop TV on here. I've been waiting for this moment, and finally it happens. Hopefully it happens 2 more times, we'll see.
We do still have 800 miles of racing, but you claim this 250 miles this evening. You led 41 of 100 laps in easily one of the most competitive, most hectic, and sure, we'll say funniest races we've seen out of the NORC iRacing series. How did you keep yourself out front? It looked like in a day and age in iRacing where it's so hard to control a plate race, you controlled it.
Oh, dude, honestly, it's so hard to control, to even stay out front, stay anywhere really. I mean, if you're getting a push in these trucks, man, the bumper hook is just insane. And you know, you get these pushes and you start sliding all over the place, and that's why you see so many wrecks. But yeah, man, to stay up front, it was just try to take every run I got and just try to stay in the lead and just try to hold on to the pushes. Because I mean, man, if you're mid pack and you're getting those pushes, man, you're gonna end up like the Jared Darlings and the Cody Millers, the destroyed guys. So, you know, my plan of attack is just to stay up front and just try to hold on to those pushes, and I held on to it, man.
That you did. It is finally another victory for this 25. And hey, you talked about wanting to win the next 2. Xfinity cars and Cup cars, they drive completely differently in a pack of 30 like this. How do you go out there next week and conquer the 300-miler?
Same strategy. Definitely stay up front. I'd put on a heck of a show in qualifying. I've never qualified good in my life. So to qualify P2, that was really good to help me stay up front. But yeah, definitely execute. You know, execution is all about. That's just what it's all about, man. It's all about execution, man. You got to execute in qualifying, and I'm gonna try to execute in the race, just like I did here today or tonight. And yeah, man, same game plan. Stay up front, lead out the most laps, try to win it.
And you mentioned this race being one of the funnier ones. Root word of funny is fun. How important is it for this fun month of January to just go Daytona racing 5 times in a row? How important is this fun factor, especially at a time where the future of NORC is so uncertain?
Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't start out fun. I mean, if you remember back, the Legends race, I was 3 laps down. Last week, 3 laps down. So I knew for sure, I mean, I was going to be 3 laps down again. But yeah, man, definitely this is a lot of fun. You know, January has been a fun month. Definitely being back with the guys and just seeing people that you haven't talked to in a while, you know, and just having a good old laugh, you know, as you can tell, I'm radioactive every week. Shout out to John Barry for making those. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. Really hoping something comes out of this at the end of NORCTONA. You know, we start doing something again, because I think everybody, not even myself, but just speaking upon everybody else, I think everybody really enjoys just having this hospitality and everybody back racing again, because, you know, the hiatus was a long one, and we definitely miss all, you know, we all miss each other and all the banter and stuff. So hopefully it comes out of something, you know?
Absolutely. Hopefully this brings, at least even in this kind of more fun format, I like this. Coming back for a month, let's go racing, let's have a bunch of fun, and let's let it cool down a little bit, see what comes up next. I think I like it. Buddy, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are in victory lane tonight.
Did you have fun? Did
you? I had loads of fun. I have had 5 broadcasts in the last 3 days, and this is right up there with, like, I mean, I don't know how you top this. I think this is right up there with Sunday morning. I'm glad I stayed through today. I thought about handing this one over to Emerson and Caleb and taking a night off. I'm glad I didn't, buddy. I'm so thankful to have called your finish to the checkered flag finally on Pit Stop TV. What do you have to say to TCB Nation?
Hey, shout out TCB Nation, man. You know, I love all my fans, man. You guys mean the world to me. If it wasn't for NORC, shout out to NORC too. If it wasn't for NORC, I wouldn't be where I am today with my fans and having this love and support that I do. Shout out to my girl, my mom and dad, always watching Pit Stop TV. Man, I can't wait to go back and watch this banger, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait. Everybody that commentates, Emerson and Ed, Caleb, you know, all you guys, everybody that works so hard at Pit Stop TV. You know, you guys do a great job on all your other broadcasts too. I think I already thanked John Barry, and you know what? Shout out to Elijah. You know, he kind of stuck with me on that last lap. Shout out to Elijah, man. I'm sorry, you know, it sucks that he didn't make it through on that last lap, but hey, man, you know, we got the win, man. I'm so pumped, so happy. I can't wait to go back and watch this race, boys. Yeehaw Nation, TCB Nation, we did it. Yeehaw!
TCB finally puts that 25 back in victory. Buddy, once again, congratulations. Good night. We'll see you next week. You better repeat.
Yeehaw! I will.
That is Terrell Baker finally grabbing that dub. That's a special interview. That's one that's been a long time coming, Emerson. Finally gets that dub and gets to fly the W flag for a week at the very least. John Barry was so close, and I'm waiting on this guy to get a win too. It's overdue, that win for John Barry, and he's tied with Emerson Arden.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea how you top that interview, but John, a great race tonight. First of all, a great show you put on tonight as the host. But for you, a wild race. Got 9 laps led up there. You start to show your muscle in that second stage. But there at the end, how did you let TCB just take $75 right out your back pocket?
I know. When they wrecked down the back straightaway and they took out everybody outside of him, he was like around my rear bumper. That's how he got it. It's just these trucks have such a pull off the draft, and I could have swung high, swung a little brick draft, which I kind of tried, but it just didn't work. When Emery got wrecked, that kind of sealed my fate there. But of all the people, it's like the plate race. It's like he's always up front, and he knows what to do, and it's like the one person I think outside of him, maybe Femi, who I don't want to defend against on plate track, because I know they're going to do everything they can to get around me, and he did. So, like, yeah, my belt fold's a little bit lighter. It's actually really light now because he won all the damn stages, too. So, like, I might as well just give him my bank account. You know, he might as well give him to him.
Wow, is this happening? But we've heard a lot there from TCB, and you're having a great time. It looked like a great time. I mean, the constant 3 wide, that's kind of a staple with NORC plate racing. But so far, we've ran 3 races, got 2 more. Are you having fun through this month of January, this month of NORCTONA?
Yes, I am. I'm kind of still a little bit triggered, I guess, from last week. I really felt like I should have won that race last week with the Arctic cars. Then, you know, Zelensky decided like he wasn't going to lift and plowed for my rear and killed me. And I was so close to winning tonight. 6 1,000s. I was just, I almost got coming back to the lineup. But no, this has been, it's the last hurrah for NORC. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. Racing tonight wasn't necessarily the best. First half of this race was really rough. I guarantee. I know you guys probably didn't have the best time watching it. You know, this is like not knowing how to turn left. But no, this has been a lot of fun racing here.
Well, another podium for you, John, here in this month of NORCTONA. What's it going to take for you over the next 2 races, next 800 miles, for you to put that 74 on the top step of the podium?
I need everybody, including TCB, to wreck. It's like the only way we will get it done. I need the entire field just to completely disappear on the last lap. If there's no one else on the racetrack, I might win unless the pace car comes out and wrecks me. But these plate races are just 100% luck. I mean, granted, there is some skill. I mean, there's a reason why you kind of see TCB and certain guys always up front all the time in these particular races. Yeah, it's not the same sort of skill as like a mile and a half or road course, but there is definitely a skill to it. But there's also a lot of luck and just positioning and just putting yourself, at the end of the race just to be there. And I felt like I've done a good job so far in these first 3 races. It's just that last lap, man. I've just been there, just not close. This has been the second race I finished second. In the last race last week, I had to lead on the last lap. So the positioning is there. I just need a little bit of luck.
Certainly. Well, John, a second place finish here tonight in the trucks in the NORCTONA 250. Get a chance to get a shout out. If you got a shout out, thank you if you got a thank. And best luck to you.
I will give a shout out to TCB, but since he beat me and cost me money, no, I don't like TCB anymore. He's no longer my friend. I like to give a shout out to everybody else who wrecked during the entire race to give me less cars I had to compete against. An anti-shout out towards Jared for wrecking Emery, because that completely killed my momentum down backstreet. So anti-shout out to Jared. Boo on you. Shout out to everybody at AGS, at work, who I'm gonna make watch in this race and watch this interview. Shout out to Dylan because he likes it when I give him a shout outs. Shout out to Connor, who went flying into a K-loader and completely destroyed one of our fans. And shout out for John for still not firing me yet.
Oh, congratulations on the second place finish, John. Best luck to you again over the next two Tuesdays, and hopefully we're talking to you a little bit sooner on these broadcasts.
Yeah, just make sure TCB's not here. I gotta take care of TCB first.
Right on. We'll see you, man.
See ya.
John Barry, driver of the number 74, owner, host, who puts all of this on. Finishes second there. Caleb, you're going to be standing by for third place finisher tonight, Aaron Smith.
Yeah, standing by with Aaron Smith. Aaron, what a race! I mean, you saw a lot out of your front windshield. You were able to keep your nose clean, but also the side of your car's got a little bit of damage. A couple wrecks you were involved in there, but still a third place finish. So, the takeaways from this race was a good finish.
Yeah, after getting pushed into a couple wrecks and having all the body panels in my truck broken in some way, shape, or form, I'll certainly take it.
Well, what exactly was your strategy coming into this race? A little bit longer race than what we've had so far with these first 2 NORC races, 100 laps in this one, plus some stages thrown in. Were you shooting for the stages, or were you just trying to hang out and survive to the end?
Yeah, the main goal was to survive. I had to start in the middle of the field because half the field didn't qualify, but we got caught up in those wrecks, and it kind of killed my plans to run a clean race and just keep my nose clean. But fortunately, we never got hit hard enough to really damage the truck to pass the point of no return like we saw with a lot of the trucks in this field tonight. But I'm happy with it. I'll certainly take it.
Well, third place finish after all the havoc we saw tonight, from lap 1 all the way to lap 100, proves to be a good finish. We got 2 more races coming up here with the NORC Classics here going on, and take us through what you feel is your best chance to win coming up in these last 2 races.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the B cars have the greatest chance of me bringing home the win. I'm not too confident in super speedways, but tonight was definitely a pretty good boost in that regard. But we'll see.
Well, once again, thank you for being a part of this, and congratulations again on your top 3 finish. A very interesting race, a lot going on from lap 1 to lap 100. Like we mentioned, you were able to lead 2 laps, but once again, a nice third place finish. You were able to bring it home.
All right, thank you.
That is Aaron Smith in the number 70 wrapping up a pretty solid race. Third place tonight, 2 laps led. Nothing to complain about there. Just a good day of racing overall. I don't know any way to make today's race any better, to be entirely honest with you, Emerson. Maybe you do. I mean, this has just been fantastic stuff, and I already posted over in the NORC Facebook group. Y'all better keep this energy for next week, and the 500 especially. This has been crazy, crazy stuff. Let's take a look at our unofficial race results from the NORCTONA Truck 250. Obviously, DCB with that race win finally on this channel. Finally, Terrell Baker tops the lists. John Barry, second place. Aaron Smith, third. We talked to each of them, finishing just behind them, coming to the line, missing all of that crash. How about a shout out to Brett Pancari, somehow missing all of that and finishing in fourth spot? And a shout out to Seth Noel from pole to fifth. That sounds like maybe a disappointing day, Emerson, but really, really solid.
Yeah, just able to bring it home in one piece, even though it's 4 seconds back of the race to the line. That's not bad for fifth. Sixth place, we'll have the 12 of Spencer Owens. It'll be Will Klein, our NORC Classic winner. He'll come home seventh here with the truck race. John's shout out, Jared Darlingbeer, comes home eighth, 24.5 seconds in the smoking damaged truck, along with Cody Lamas and Patrick Colby to round out the top 10.
Bringing it home in 11th, Anthony Emery, a car that was up there racing hard for the win, along with this 42 that brought it home in 12th, Elijah Gracia. 13th, Sean Williams. After the trouble he was in, he was able to bring it home a nice top 15 finish. Matt Hummel, 14th. 15th is going to be Sheldon Lockie. 16th, Benjamin Miles. 17th, David Shutt. 18th, Cody Miller. 19th, Jimmy Gregory. And 20th, my pick for the night, Ashley Molyneux.
Flip back to the final page of results, you'll see the rest of our picks throughout this field. Bobby Zelensky, that was Emerson's pick, finishes 21st, 50 laps down. Tom Mercier, 22nd. And you know what? I'm going to pre-pick Tom Mercier for next week. It just feels right. For some reason, it feels like that New Englander is going to use all of his Boston power, all of his Dunkin' Donuts power, and get up there for the win next week, rather, with the Xfinity cars. I don't know what it is. Just got a feeling. Josh Aubin comes home 23rd. He comes home DNF for the rest of these guys as well. Daniel Faulkingham, 24th. Tony Hilbrand's 25th, ejected certainly with the effort there. Bobby Chaney as well, 26th spot, 78 laps down. And then you get down to old Femi Olot. Fortunately, 83 laps down, 83 laps to go, 17 in. Had that crash with Ashley Molyneux. And unfortunately as well, it was all Femi Olot in that case. Just came down on another truck. You see Howie Briss, Michael Keithley, and Nathan Duenas rounding out the field. Nathan Duenas did not start this race, but did at least make it into the field in that number 22. And that, Emerson Arden, is your rundown. The entire 30-car field for the NORCTONA Truck 250. What in the heck do you make of this one?
Well, I will say this is exactly... No, I'm not going to say this again. But if you were going to tell me that this race was going to have action from green to checkered, we're going to have a lot of wrecks, and we're going to have an amazing finish, I would have said, yeah, that's a NORC plate race. Now, I'm stoked with how this race turned out. I'm so intrigued to see if these drivers can do it once again. 300 miles next week in the Xfinity cars. And the real challenge is going to be doing that in the Cup cars, in the Gen 6 Cup cars, for 500 miles in 2 weeks' time. But as far as tonight goes, it was an amazing show. If you wanted just a classic NORC plate race, you got about everything you could have wanted.
And Caleb, I know you've only been around for 3 of these NORC events. You've been around obviously for a lot longer with Pit Stop TV and with racing commentary as a whole. You've seen quite a bit in your fair share as well. What do you make of the way this has gone so far? And I'm going to keep asking you, what are your impressions now of the NORC iRacing series, and how do you see these next 2 races going? Well, we got a Caleb.
I think I'm back now.
We got you.
Gotcha. Well, what I take away from these NORC iRacing events so far is that, I think I've said this before, but the intensity of these races is every driver making the move for the win. Nobody's okay with just riding around. It seems like everybody's always trying to make the move that's going to set them up for the win, whether that be on lap 5 or lap 85. That's been the most interesting thing to me. Coming into this, I thought maybe, these guys are going to ride around, run some single file laps, and just get to the end. But 3 races in a row, I've been wrong, and I think these next 2 are going to prove to be the same.
Absolutely. We're going to have some really good racing these next couple of weeks. And, I just confirmed with the one and only John Barry, Revan Lateralis himself, there will be a special entry in next week's Xfinity race. I'll let you guys find out who that is come race time, but there will be somebody different in the field that you might not expect. We got some upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV. Let's brush that aside. We got some really cool stuff coming up. This is a look, and obviously this graphic made earlier in the day. We had British Sim Racers earlier today, so this was made this morning for that. But that's why NORC is on there. But tomorrow afternoon, Emerson, this is a lot of fun. This is something we talked about for a couple of days now. This is something I'm very, very much looking forward to working on with you and Ed Shearer. We've got Ferrari GT3 Challenge action. That is official racing action. So if you're on iRacing and you have a D-Class road license or higher, you guys can get in on this race. Try and make top split. Go out there and join the Ferrari GT3 Challenge race at 2:45 Eastern if you're able, at 7:45 UK time, and you can extrapolate from there. That's 11:45 Pacific time. That is a race that we are broadcasting here on Pit Stop TV. It's a 15-minute race at the Hungaroring, so you might need that one as well. So it's a couple of pieces of paid content, but it's going to be a lot of great racing. It's all one single manufacturer, 15 minutes. Go out there, go balls to the wall, have a good time.
Yeah, it should be a great time. I love sports car racing. I'm glad I'll be able to get another little taste of it tomorrow afternoon. With the Ferrari Challenge at the Hungaroring. I also haven't really seen the Hungaroring in action. You know, we hear about it on the F1 side of things. It's the Monaco, but without walls. Should be a great time tomorrow night, 15 minutes. Also, you gotta be, it's a sprint. You gotta go from lights out to checkered. You gotta be on it. So it'll be a grand old time tomorrow. Can't wait to tackle it tomorrow.
And you see Thursday, we got the British Sim Racers touring cars. That's BSRTC at 8 p.m. UK. So you can see kind of where that falls in. We are going for the closest race that we can get to that same time slot to try and get some of the Brits in. So you might even see some of those guys cross over. We shall find out. But BSRTC right back here at the Daytona International Speedway to wrap up a week of 3 Daytona broadcasts. That's pretty incredible, which is a total of 9 Daytona races, because these British Sim Racers, you guys should definitely tune in for those broadcasts as well. We urge you to do so. Subscribe to Pit Stop TV on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, and find out when we're going live, because these British Sim Racers go insane. I mean, they race like no tomorrow. It's lights out the entire time. It's 4 races, 15 minutes apiece. It is some of the best racing that we're able to offer to you guys. I will be honest, I don't know that it tops tonight. Tonight is good stuff, but you've got to tune in. Even if it's the recorded VOD later on for the British Sim Racers, it is so worth it. I highly recommend it. You definitely need to. Into next week, we have, of course, on Monday, it'll be the BRPI Racing Series, this time from the Fairbury Speedway. Their points battle is getting thick, and with everything that happened last night at Bristol, that was wild. The point situation is going to be equally as wild. Of course, next week, British Sim Racers continue on with now Knock Hill Racing Circuit. Brand new to the iRacing.com sim. That's one you should tune in for. Obviously, we have the NORC Xfinity 300 next week as well, and a whole lot of other stuff. Make sure you're there for all of it. Emerson, plenty of places to follow along with all of our work on social media.
Absolutely, and tonight Ed Shearer was taking care of all of our social media needs. You can check out all of his posts tonight, at our Facebook page, facebook.com/pitstoptv, our Twitter, twitter.com/pitstoptv_, just at pitstoptv_, our Instagram at pit_stop_tv, our YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. You should also check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv.
That will do it. It's been a whole lot of fun this evening, but at some point we have got to get some rest after that one, because let me tell you, I think we're all going to need it. I know I do. I haven't eaten since, I want to say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock today. Yeah, I could use a snack at the very least. This has been one hell of a day for racing, one hell of a weekend. The last 3 days I've had some of the best racing we've ever had on Pit Stop TV. We had the NARL Streamer Championship on Sunday morning. That rolled into the Scar Grid Sports Car Challenge at Montreal. Then last night with the BRPI Racing Series. Today's British Sim Racing was wild. The Mazdas were here on the road course at Daytona. It was absolutely insane through and through. And of course, this race, I think, tops them all, potentially. Really, really good stuff. So exciting all the way through. Even when we got to those green flag pit stops and the field spread out, man, nothing equals 3 wide NORC plate racing. It's just incredible. This stuff really is some of the best racing on the iRacing.com service, and we're so grateful, so thankful, so lucky to be able to cover these races and bring them to you. Scream at some race cars for a few hours and for you guys to watch. We really are so thankful for all of your support. Please, again, hit that follow button, that subscribe button, whatever it may be, wherever you're watching from. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot to us and tells us that we are doing the right things here in this very wide world of sim racing broadcasting. For all of Pit Stop TV, this will do it. This is it for this evening's action. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a pleasure bringing this one to you, but we've got to run. Thank you for watching. For all of us here tonight, as Emerson said, we had Ed Shearer on social media. We also, of course, had Emerson Arden and Caleb Gladney on commentary with me tonight. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. If you want to join Pit Stop TV in any form or fashion, be it to join as a crew member, to join on as a league, to join on as a partner of the channel, by all means, let us know. Email Andrew at pitstoptv.com. And speaking of those partners, a big shout out as well to our partners here at Pit Stop TV. Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine, Tucson Sound Art, Whiplash Media, BAM Racing Videos. You saw a bit of them on the left side of your screen throughout the evening. We will see you next time, and we very much hope it is tomorrow at 2:45 Eastern. Until then, have a great night. We'll see you then.